Yes, indeed, the Firefox. We are back. And brought to you via St. Louis, Missouri, this is Bombers Game Mic. And this is Game 2 of the split doubleheader down in Cincinnati, Ohio, where the St. Louis Cardinals are taking on the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark. I'm Paul D. And if you missed the first game, it was all Cardinals basically all the time. They cruised to an easy 8-1 victory. But now here in Game 2, which is, I'd say, scheduled for first pitch in about 3.5 minutes or so, we have Kyle Leahy, the right-hander, for the Redbirds. And for the Reds, the right-hander, the 23-year-old Chase Petty, who is known for having some rather electric stuff, but this is his fourth start overall in the big leagues and only his second this year. So, that's a thing. However, yes, please do like and share the stream. That goes a really long way to help a, one, young, and two, still quite small channel begin to grow, as we have to please our almighty overlord, the algorithm. But that is simply what we sign up for. Now, let's see here. Let me give you the starting lineup here for the Cardinals in Game 2 here tonight. Leading off, bat and playing second, J.J. Weatherhall. In the 2-hole is Herrera, but he is the DH for Game 2. Batting third at first is Burleson. Batting cleanup out in right is Jordan Walker. Batting fifth at third base is Gorman. Batting sixth at short is Mason Wynn. Batting seventh, the left fielder, Torres. He had a huge first game, which was also his first major league game. Batting eighth is the catcher, Pajes. And batting ninth, as in Game 1, in center field is Victor Scott II. Now, here it is for the Redbirds. Leading off in center field is Dunn. In the 2-hole at shortstop is Ellie De La Cruz. Batting third at DH is Belady. In the cleanup spot at third base is Stewart. Batting fifth at first is Lowe. Batting sixth at second is McLean. Batting seventh in right field is Benson. Behind the plate catching is Higgins. He's batting eighth. And batting ninth in left field is Friedel. So those are your starting lineups here for Game 2. And if you're just coming back here for Game 2, it's just about to begin. This is the national game today, Saturday night baseball in America on Fox. But I thank you so much for joining me here for the broadcast and the call. And as always, even if you did it earlier, new game, new stream, let me know where you're watching or listening from. I absolutely love that stuff, and I always call it out. So please do chime in the chat. And how do you think Kyle Leahy will do? What is your projected line for him? And for that matter, what's your projected line for our boy pitching for the Reds? Not exactly our boy, but certainly pitching for the Reds, Petty. Our boy Petty here. Chase Petty, to be exact. So we are just standing by awaiting first pitch down in Cincinnati. It looks like it's cleared up and has indeed turned into a Chamber of Commerce evening. Lord knows there's a lot more butts in the stands than there were in Game 1, but that's largely to be expected. Listening all the way from Seattle, cheers to the Firefox. And Southeast Oklahoma tuning in. Katie won't go. Thank you so much for entering the chat. And we're only a short moment away here from first pitch. Here's Chase Petty. He's made one start. He has a 0-0 record, allowed 3 earned runs through 5 2/3 innings, a strikeout, 2 walks, and a home run allowed. Hitters are hitting 180 so far this year against Chase Petty. And he's primarily a changeup, sinker, slider, sweeper, four-seam. He actually throws his four-seam the least. He really does actually lean on his changeup about a third of the time, followed by his sinker a little under a quarter of the time, and his slider a whopping 18% of the time. He is a 23-year-old right-hander for Cincinnati. Fort Madison, Iowa's in the house. Thank you so much for chiming in. Love to hear from the Redbirds fan in Cardinal Nation up in Iowa. Now, Friedel's out in left, Dunn is in center, Benson's in right, Stewart's at third, De La Cruz is at short, McLean at second, Lowe at first. Starting it out. And there is, once again, Tito Francona. He's in his second season as Reds manager. And we are just a moment away here from first pitch down at the Great American Ballpark. And yes, Ollie Marmol, he's in his fifth season with the Cardinals. Took the division back in 2022, but that seems like a long time ago. Now, here's a leadoff hitter. The rookie, though he doesn't feel or play like one, the second baseman, J.J. Wetherholt, 238 on the year, 9 home runs, 25 RBIs, a 764 OPS on this campaign. And Petty is atop the bump. Wetherholt is in the box. Petty is coming from the full wind. And he deals. A fly ball out there to middle left center field. Underneath it's the center fielder. He's right there. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. So one pitch, one out for Petty against J.J. Wetherholt. Now here comes the DH, Ivan Herrera, who has just been absolutely tearing up the pea patch here. Leahy, 6-inning pitch, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks. I like your thinking. It's a righty-righty matchup. Coming wide is Petty, and here's the first pitch to Herrera. Strike. 97 miles an hour, looked like a sinker down and in, and that'll bring the count to no balls and 1 strike. Now, Petty deals. Hit on out there to right field. Going back in front of the track is the right fielder. He's underneath it. He makes the catch for the second out of the inning. So 3 pitches and 2 outs recorded here in the top of the first inning by Chase Petty. Now here comes Alec Burleson. He's hitting .295 on the year, 7 home runs, 35 RBIs. He's having a very fine 2026 campaign for the Redbirds. Petty is from the full wind, and the first pitch to Burleson. Swinging strike right through that sinker, 98 miles an hour, right down Broadway. And the count is now no balls and 1 strike to Alec Burleson. Moving quickly is Petty from the full wind. Here's the 0-1. Swinging strike on a 99-mile-an-hour sinker, out and away, and the count is now no balls and 2 strikes. And boy, that is some City Connect uniform there on the part of the Reds. I think they got to send that one back to Nike and do it over. Red tops with red bottoms and red shoes, holy hell. Now here's the 0-2 pitch. That is a pop fly ball out and over the visitors' dugout, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Sarasota, Florida, thank you for chiming in. Can't wait to see how Torres follows up on his debut. You and me both. From the full wind is Petty, and here's the 0-2 pitch. And it's popped straight on up, out behind third. Underneath it is De La Cruz calling for it. He makes the catch for the third and final out of the inning. 1, 2, 3, go the Redbirds. And after a half inning of play, it is the Cardinals nothing, and the Cincinnati Reds coming to bat. I'm Paul D. Me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Thank you all so much for chiming in. I very much appreciate it. I always like knowing where you guys are watching or listening from. Cardinal Nation has a very wide footprint. And as we've learned, even just within the confines of several of these streams, it's very much international as well. We had somebody chiming in from Dublin, Ireland today, and we have a repeat Cardinal viewer from Amsterdam. So Western Europe, definitely getting in on it. Believe me, I'm all for that. So how did you guys fill your 3 hours between games? I went grocery shopping with my wife. And I took a brief nap. And now I am entirely rejuvenated to do game 2. That and all the caffeination that can reasonably be acquired. And we await the bottom of the first inning. And we await Kyle Leahy, who undoubtedly at the moment is putting in his warm-up tosses. You watch the natural, well, that after how Torres played this afternoon, I don't think you could have chosen a better movie. That and may Robert Redford rest in peace. All right, here's Kyle Leahy. 9 starts this year. He's 5-3 with a 3.94 ERA through 45 2/3 innings pitched. 34 strikeouts against 20 walks. 6 home runs allowed. Opponents are hitting .282 against him on the year. He's primarily a four-seamer. He'll work some sliders for the swing and miss. He's got a show-me curveball, working a sinker more in there, as well as a changeup. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, there was quite a few viewers in there that came in and out. In terms of like the peak concurrent, I'm always very, very, very impressed. Now, here's the righty Dunn, and here's the first pitch to Dunn. Hit on down the first base side and out of play, and the count is 0-1. I'm always really happy how that turns out. Well, I'm glad you enjoy this more than the corporate blabbermouth. I hope to not become an independent blabbermouth in the process. But the compliment is very well taken. I thank you very much. It's very gracious. Now, here is the 0-1 to Dunn. Down and away. 95 miles an hour. Looks like a sinker. And brings the count to 1-1. It's a righty-righty matchup. Here's the 1-1. Hit to the right side and through the hole for a base hit. So the Reds have a lead-off single here by Dunn. And that will bring up the all-world Elly De La Cruz. And as I was saying in the first game, this is the guy you got to keep off base. Because when he gets on base, it turns into a track meet that includes throwing a baseball with a bat. He's hitting .284 with 11 home runs, 32 RBIs, and .864 OPS through 51 games this year. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Dunn leads off first. Leahy from the stretch, and here's the pitch. Up and away, four-seam fastball, 96 miles per hour, and out of the zone. And the count is now 1 ball, no strikes. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. He deals. Swinging strike on the curveball down and away. Really had some nice bite to that one. De La Cruz swung right over the top of that thing. And the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Dunn, he leads off first. He has a short lead. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. Here's the 1-1. Down and in, a changeup clear out of the zone. And that brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Let's get a double play. Cheers to that. I think we'd all sign up for that right now. Coming set at the Birds is the righty Leahy. And the pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. And the count is now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Elly De La Cruz. I cannot say that enough. It just rolls off the tongue beautifully. De La Cruz is back into the box. Leading off first is Dunn. Here's the 2-2. Swinging strike 3. Nope. Did he tap it? Tapped it into his glove for a strikeout. That's the first out of the inning. And it was a breaking ball down and in. It looked like a really sharp slider. Very impressive stuff there. And keeping De La Cruz off the base pass. I would say that is ingredient number 1 against the Cardinal offense. Now, here's a lefty, J.J. Belady. He was leading off in the first game. .287 with 6 home runs. Here's a pitch. Down and in, a curveball clear out of the zone. The count is 1-0. The runner Dunn leads off first. From the stretch is Leahy. He's at the Birds. He deals. And it fouled back behind the plate and out of play on a changeup down and away. And brings the count to 1-1. Belady hitting .288 on the year. There's a reason why he was hitting leadoff earlier and hitting third now. Dunn leads off first. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. He holds. Throws over to first. And it looks like time was granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of Pallante because Leahy was taking too long. And I'm not going to say that Pallante was wrong in that assessment. Back onto the bump is Leahy. Dunn leads off first. Coming set out the Birds is Leahy. Now here's the 1-1. Foul down the third base side and out of play on a four-seam fastball up and away. It was 96 miles an hour. And the count is now a 1-2 strikes. The runner leads off first. There is one out here in the bottom of the first inning. No score at the Great American Ballpark. Thrown over to first again is Leahy. Dunn is back easily, taking less than a 0 lead. Holding him there right at first is Burleson. And back onto the rubber is Leahy. He basically sets in the middle of the rubber. Now here's the 1-2. Just off the plate, a changeup, 90 miles an hour. Had the height, did not have the plate. And that brings the count even to 2-2. Let me know where you're watching from, listening from. Where are you enjoying Bombers Game Mike tonight for this second game of the doubleheader? Coming set is Leahy. Now here's the 2-2. Hit on up there to center field. Right there is Victor Scott. He goes back just a step. He's underneath it. He squeezes it for the second out of the inning. So a couple of quick outs here. Well, maybe not so quick, but a couple of efficient outs here by Leahy in the middle of the lineup. And now here's Sal Stewart, the third baseman. He is the cleanup hitter. He's hitting .259 with 12 home runs, 34 RBIs, and .839 OPS. Leads NL rookies. 51 games so far this year. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. First one. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, says the home plate umpire. And that was basically a sweeper that landed in the lefty batter's box. However, Stewart, he couldn't keep it in. It's an 0-1 count. I'm fairly sure, Fox. Coming set is Leahy. He deals. Just off the plate. And the count now, it's 1-1 by my count, but Fox has it 2-0. Here's the pitch. I was correct. Check swing. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the first baseline, and that'll bring the count to 2-1 strike. You're watching from St. Louis. Hey, I'm glad to see somebody else here in the area tuning in. Coming set is Leahy. Here's a 2-1. Swinging strike, 95 miles an hour upstairs, and the count is 2-2. What's with the AI thumbnail? It's because I suck at graphic design. Simply put, I'm focusing more on giving you guys a good game experience. The thumbnail, it's just kind of there to do its thing. If I were a different type of channel, I would probably invest more in it. That's the honest answer. Stepping into the box is Stewart. Looking in is Leahy for the sign, and time is granted by the home plate umpire. Well, somebody earlier, what was this? SAS_redeemed_St. Louis said they were calling from St. Louis. So I'm talking about them. Here's the pitch. And there is a sweeper that almost gets away from Pajes, and that now brings the count full to 3-2 strikes. Chiming in from Virginia, thank you for making yourself known. Welcome to the call here in Game 2. So it's a full count here to Stewart. Dunn leads off first with 2 outs. He's going to be going on this one. Now, here's the pitch. Hit down to the third base side, fielded by Wynn, deep in the hole. He throws to first in time for the third and final out of the inning. So, despite that lead-off runner, Leahy gets on right through it. We head to the top of the second inning. I'm Paul D. Thank you all so much for joining me here in the second game of the doubleheader. And for all intents and purposes, you are watching or listening to Bombers Game Mike. Now, let's see anything interesting going on in the chat. A little quiet here at the beginning of Game 2. But yeah, just on the question about the AI thumbnail, the fact of the matter is I suck at graphic design. I do a pretty decent job calling a game, but the fact of the matter is, I need something that works, and I live with it. I own it. It's there. What am I watching it on? It's actually being broadcast on Fox, so I'm getting it through YouTube.tv. So local here in St. Louis, I believe it's Fox 2. And we await the top of the second inning. Certainly the Redbirds are looking to build off their very strong offensive performance in Game 1. But if we learned anything about Chase Petty, and when you read up on the scouting reports with him, he's known for having some pretty nasty stuff. Yeah, the first game, it was on 4. So one game a week. It's usually supposed to be on the Friday night, but it got rained out. It will usually be on 4, but they moved it over to today. It's basically a simulcast broadcast through the Cardinals.tv broadcast. Usually they have it going up on most Friday nights as far as I can tell. So we await the top of the second inning. And yes, a whole bunch of beauty shots, establishing beauty shots from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a nice city. I like it. Nice ballpark, too. Good experience. Now, here's Jordan Walker leading off, hitting .293, 14 home runs, 38 RBIs. One of those home runs came earlier today. Now, Petty winds and deals. Up and in. Slider, nowhere near the zone. And the count is 1 ball and no strikes. It's a righty-righty matchup. From the full wind, Petty deals the 1-0. Foul down the first base side and out of play on a four-seam fastball at 96 miles an hour. And the count is now 1 ball, 1 strike to Jordan Walker, who's having quite a day so far. Petty, he has the sign. And he deals. In the dirt, a sweeper, nowhere near the zone. And that brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, his career OPS is just through the roof this year. It's basically 250 points higher than his first 2 years in the big leagues. Here's the pitch. Down and away, four-seam fastball at 97 miles an hour. And that brings the count to 3-1. So it's definitely a hitter's count here leading off in the top of the second inning for Jordan Walker. Let's see what he does with it. Now, here's the 3-1 pitch. Right down Broadway for a slider strike, 88 miles an hour, and that brings the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jordan Walker steps back into the box. Time is granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of Walker, and so we wait a little longer for this 3-2 pitch. From the full wide, and here's the 3-2. Ball 4 just missed the outside corner with a four-seam fastball. So a leadoff walk drawn here by Jordan Walker. Chase Petty is a little frustrated with the outside, not getting that outside corner call for a strike. And so the runner is at first. And now here is Nolan Gorman. He's playing third. He was at DH earlier. He's hitting .222 with 6 home runs and 25 RBIs. From the stretch is Petty, and he deals. Hit on up there the middle and through the hole for a base hit. Fielded in by the center fielder. He's going to throw the cutoff man. Going all the way to third is Jordan Walker. So now the Cardinals have runners on first and third with nobody out here in the top of the second inning. Just jumping on that thing. It looked like a four-seam fastball middle in, and it just finds the big wide open hole just to the right field side of second. And so runners on first and third and nobody out here in the top of the second. And now Here is Mason Wynn, the right-handed hitting shortstop for the Redbirds. Here's the pitch. Hit on out there to left field, and right there on the line, it's caught. And coming home is Jordan Walker, and he is in for the first run of the game. And that will be a 1-0 Cardinal lead here in the top of the second inning on the sac fly there by Mason Wynn, which will also be the first out of the inning. So, hey, a 1-0 lead here in Game 2 for the Redbirds here in the top of the second inning. I think we'll all sign up for that. Cheers. And his uniform going in head first towards home is all sorts of dirty, and we'll sign up for that every time. Now here's the lefty Torres. Here's the pitch. Just off the plate, a sinker called a ball, but it's being challenged. It's an ABS challenge, so we'll await the call. And it is indeed a strike. So the call is overturned, and that'll bring the count to 0-1. This is the second major league game for Torres. His first one was in Game 1, and he just absolutely made a asteroid impact on that game. Coming set from the stretch is Petty with the runner out first. Here's the first pitch. Hit on out there to the left side and in for a base hit. He just served that changeup down and away, and now runners are on first and second with still one out in the top of the second inning. So how about that? Hello, fellow play-by-play guy here, Nats guy. I always like meeting a colleague. Thank you so much for dipping in here. Now, here is Pedro Pajes. This is a righty-righty matchup. Runners on first and second with one out. Here's the pitch. And it is popped straight on up into center field. Not even, actually. It's in shallow center. Underneath it is De La Cruz, who snags it for the second out of the inning. Pajes just put it up there. It was basically a home run in a silo. And that's the second out of the inning. And now, here comes Victor Scott II, the left-handed hitter. He also had a very good Game 1. Fellow play-by-play guy for the Nats, let us know your channel. Let us know in the chat. Now here's Victor Scott. Here's the first pitch. Forcing fastball down and away out of the zone. The count is 1-0. So it's good to see the Cardinals getting off to a rather quick start here, making the most of their opportunities. Common set is Petty. Here's the 1-0. Just off the plate, a sinker, 96 miles an hour, and that brings the count to 2-0. So very excited for this young team. You and me both. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch. Common sets Petty at the belt. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Hit to the right side and snagged by the second baseman in the air for the third and final out of the inning. However, the Redbirds strike first, and we head to the bottom of the second inning at the Great American Ballpark. I'm Paul D. Thank you all so much for joining me here in Game 2. If this is your first time and you like what you see, by all means, leave a like. Helps a small, young channel grow. And if you dig it even more, hit subscribe. You'll know when the action is happening. I'll be back tomorrow and then all 3 games against the Brewers. But with that in mind, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Let's see here. Go into the chat. My channel is District Nation. This is already a good matchup here. Well, cheers to you, District Nation, and anybody who's interested in following the Nationals, by all means, go over to District Nation and hit the subscribe button. Us play-by-play guys, we got to look out for each other. It's important. That's what we do. Yeah, let's do it again. I'm all for that. So excited for this team. I'm in Arizona. Cheers, Arizona. Thank you for chiming into the chat. Oh, Dandelion 158, you like my hair? Well, all I can say is thank you so much. I will. First off, I'm very complimented, of course, but I'll certainly pass pass my compliments on to my parents. They'll be even happier, especially my dad. He cut hair in his own salon for over 40 years in my home city in southwestern Connecticut. He retired just after 2020, so believe me, he is a guy who still gives me all my haircuts, so believe me, he'll be more than happy to hear that, even more so than me. Thank you. So excited for this young team. I'm in Arizona. Once again, cheers, Arizona joining us. Great to see Jordan Walker find his swing. The Cardinals, way baby. Go Birds. Hell yes. Hell yes. Hey, I'm glad to see everybody is so pumped up and in a jovial mood tonight. Why shouldn't there be? It's Saturday night Redbird baseball. And now we're here for the bottom of the second inning. And you'll get little personal tidbits from that from me over time and various things I bring to the table. Here's the first pitch from Leahy. Strike right down Broadway. 93 mile per hour four-seam fastball. And that'll bring the count to no balls and one strike. Now here's the pitch. Check swing. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the third baseline. So Lowe was able to check it. The lefty Lowe is at the plate. He's batting .259 on the campaign. Here's the 1-1. Hit to the right side. Fielded to his right is Witherhall. Throws across his body in time for the first out of the inning. So that was quite a play by JJ. He had to go well over to the bare hand side, so basically towards second base. Pick it up with his momentum still going towards second. Throw across his body and then get it to Alec Burleson in time to get the runner, and he did it beautifully for the first out of the inning. Now, here's the first pitch of the righty McLean. Slider off the plate, and the count is 1-0. I'm a big Jordan Walker fan. Has got a good swing and a high ceiling. You got that right. Fly ball on out there to center field. Going back in front of the track is Victor Scott. He's underneath it. He makes the catch for the second out of the inning. He was about 5 or 6 feet in front of the dead center 404 sign out in dead center field at Great American Ballpark. He made that one look easy. He had a good beat on it right off the bat, and he made that thing look routine, and for him it probably is. Heck, we know that it is. Lowe used to play with the Rangers. Now here's the pitch. Strike. First pitch to Benson. That was a slider right down Broadway. The count is 0-1. I have some interesting Ranger memories, Texas Ranger memories from my youth. Now here's the 0-1. A curveball down and in and out of the zone. The count is now 1 ball, 1 strike. My very first Yankee game was actually at the ballpark in Arlington against the Rangers in 1995. Here's the pitch. Grounded right up the middle and through the hole for a base hit past a diving Mason Wynn. And so the Reds will have a 2-out base runner here in the bottom of the second inning. Yeah, my first Yankee game was at the ballpark in Arlington against the Rangers. They were the visiting team. My grandparents, who have both since passed in recent years, were the ones to bring me. It's one of my favorite baseball memories. It's not where my baseball memories start, but it's a very important one. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. Here's the first pitch. Four-seam fastball up and in, out of the zone. And the count is now 1 ball and no strikes. Now here's the pitch. Sinker strike, outside corner at the knees to the righty hitter. And the count is 1-1. It's the catcher Higgins, followed by the left fielder Friedel for the Reds. Here's the pitch. Slider down and away, well out of the zone. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. I really do want to actually see the new ballpark they built down in Arlington. They opened back in 2020. It looks like quite the construction effort. Quite the construction effort. All right, it's a 2-1 count. We stand by awaiting the pitch. Coming set is Leahy. He deals. Hit on down the right field line. Given chases Walker in front of the stands, and it goes well into the stands. And that brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Thank you all so much for joining me here in Game 2. It's 1-0 Cardinals. As we stand by, waiting the next pitch from Leahy. Taking their sweet time, they are. He comes set at the Birds. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike 3. Down he goes for the third and final out of the inning. So, despite the hit there with 2 out, nothing across for the Reds. We head to the top of the third inning. It's 1-0 Redbirds. I'm Paul D. This is Saturday Night Cardinal Baseball. And this is Bombers Game Mic. So, Leahy has been pretty steady here in the early going. That's a fine thing. He's actually been pitching reasonably well through his May start, so he's really just kind of looking to continue the momentum there. And no better time to start than tonight, I'll tell you that much. And I'm curious, now that I happen to mention first professional baseball games, I mean MLB games. Let me know in the chat, where did you see your first professional baseball game? It doesn't have to be the Cardinals. It can be any team. But I am curious. Yeah, it looks as though Cardinal pitching brought their A game tonight. Well, the Firefox 76, who is you're definitely a friend of the channel. You add so much to it in the chat. I really appreciate that. Everyone here is a friend of the channel, but I really do appreciate those who chime in and make themselves known. You don't have to do it. It's not mandatory. It's not necessary to punch your ticket here at Bombers Game Mic. But I like knowing where you all are, what you're thinking, all that kind of fun stuff. But where was your first Major League game? Where did you see it? Was it at Busch Stadium, this one or the previous one? Was it at Sportsman's Park? Did it have anything to do with the Cardinals? Was it at Wrigley? You know, it could be anywhere. Old Busch Stadium in the early 90s. One thing I have to say, I never got to see a game there. But I remember, the thing that always stuck out about it is that even though it was one of those cookie-colored donut hole multi-use facilities, it was the only one in baseball that actually had a soul. A lot of that had to do with a lot of the amazing games and teams that played there, no doubt. But I really liked how they had it all arranged, especially out in center field with the retired numbers and the World Series pennants. It was really great. Now here's J.J. Weatherholt for his second at-bat. Here's the pitch. Low, down, and in with a changeup. And count is 1-0. The old one, Cardinals versus Cubs, mid to late 90s. That's awesome. I always wish I could tell you a game there. Here's the 1-0. Fouled down the third base side and out of play on a changeup down and away, and the count's 1-1. Immediate family and my dad's sister and her husband. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, I went with my 2 grandparents and my only first cousin on that side. Here's the 1-1. Hit to the right side and over the second baseman's head for a base hit. So a leadoff single here by JJ to start off the third for the Redbirds, making Chase Petty work. You saw your first game at the Astrodome. Oh man, I wish I could have seen even one game at the Astrodome. Busch Stadium, early 70s. Lou Brock, Ted Simmons, etc. I wish I could have seen that too. Now here's Ivan Herrera for his second at-bat. Weatherholt leads off first. Righty-righty matchup. Now here's the pitch. Chopped down the third base side and out of play on a slider. And the count is now 0-1. Dodger Stadium, early 70s. I've been to a game at Dodger Stadium. As far as I'm concerned, in my experience, and I've been to LA a number of times, that's been my altogether best experience there. It was really great. Here's the 0-1. Inside a four-seam fastball off the plate. And that'll bring the count to 1-1. I think the Cardinals played the Padres, and when Gary Templeton came to bat, we all booed him. Boos on the road are cheers at home. Coming set at the stretch is Petty. Here's the 1-1. Hit to the left side. Fielded by De La Cruz deep in the hole. Throws the second one on to first. A double play. Oh my goodness, that was an absolutely sick double play turn by Ellie De La Cruz there. He was deep in the hole at short. He managed to pull it in, momentum going away, absolutely throw a strike to second for one, and then the relay on to first got Herrera there by half a step. Got him by half a step. That was not a double play every shortstop in the major leagues could turn. Believe me. Now here's Alec Burleson with nobody on, 2 out here in the top of the third inning. From the full wind is Petty. He deals. It is a fly ball down the left field line. Coming in is the left fielder towards the stand and at the line. He makes the catch for the third and final out of the inning. So, despite the leadoff single by J.J. Weatherholt, nothing happening. It's 1-0 Redbirds going to the bottom of the third inning. I'm Paul D, and by all means, keep chiming in, telling me about your very first Major League game. Doesn't have to be with the Cardinals, it just has to be a Major League game. That's a meaningful event and memory in your life. And if you're enjoying this stream here in Game 2 of the doubleheader, please leave a like, helps the young and small channel grow. And if you like it even more than that, hit subscribe. And with that in mind, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Aunt and Uncle took me to Crosley versus the Giants. So, oh wow. Around 68, Mays McCovey. Jeez, that is one hell of a memory. Listening from Niceville, Florida. Cheers to Niceville, Florida. Or is it Niceville? Believe me, there are many times I have spoken to a Frenchman and very, very, very deliberately called Nice, France, nice France. It always gets under their skin. Digging your broadcast. Listen to the King Jack Buck growing up. Well, he was definitely the king, no doubt, and the reigning one. Originally from Roxana, Illinois, Miss Radio broadcast. We'll be listening more often. Glad I found you. Good job. Now, I can't get a bigger compliment than that. Thank you so much. Roger Baseman. I believe that's right. Yeah, Roger Baseman. But, no, seeing the Cardinals at the Astrodome, that is just so cool. And yeah, Jack Buck was awesome. Something I do from time to time, just being a baseball nerd, is I will listen to old games on YouTube. Sometimes they're just radio broadcasts from classic broadcasters. Jack Buck is one of them. Red Barber is another. Mel Allen, Ernie Harwell. You know, I would very specifically watch Dodger games back when he was still alive and calling games just to listen to the call by Vin Scully. Now, Leahy's out for his third frame of work. Here's a lefty Friedel. Here's a pitch. Forcing fastball just off the plate. And the count is 1-0. Oh, yeah, Jack Buck. And, man, I miss Mike Shannon. From the full wind is Leahy. Hit to the right side. Field on the grounder by Weatherholt. Throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. Mike Shannon is a character that only comes around once in the broadcast booth. And he was amazing. And yeah, Vin was great. You didn't have to be a Dodger fan. With MLB.TV back in like 09, 10, 11, when the Cardinals, you know, I'd watch it with my girlfriend and now wife. We'd watch the Dodger feed. Here's a pitch. Just off the plate, a slider. Count is 1-0 because he would do the television feed. And he was amazing. Now here's the center fielder, Blake Dunn, the right-handed hitter. He's the leadoff man. Second at bat, fastball up and in, went around on the check swing according to the home plate umpire, and the count is now 1-1 to Dunn. No, I miss Vin Scully a lot. Now here's the 1-1 pitch. Foul back on a sweeper up and in. Goes right behind home plate, and the count is now 1-2 strikes. Apparently the Cincinnati Reds record against the NL Central so far this year is 1-10. Now, here's the 1-2 pitch. Just off the plate, the sweeper. Did not have the plate. It definitely had the height. And the count is now 2-2 strikes. And, of course, I really missed now the late John Sterling. Here's the 2-2. Cold strike 3 right down Broadway. Down goes Dunn in the observatory for the second out of the inning. So, Dunn just watched that thing go middle. I don't know what he was waiting for. Yeah, Ernie Harwell, a poet behind the mic. Now, here's Ellie De La Cruz. He struck out back in the first. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike on the changeup, down and away, 89 miles an hour to the lefty hitting De La Cruz, and that brings the count to 0-1. Busch Stadium, left field bleachers, Lou Brock, early 70s. Man, what I wouldn't pay for your memories of that game. Here's the 0-1. Up and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. That brings the count to 1-1 on De La Cruz. I'm really enjoying these guys. Keep them coming. Now, here's the 1-1. Just missed the inside corner. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. And that brings the count 2-1. Paez is not choosing to use an ABS on that. Now, here's the 2-1. Just missed the outside corner. A curveball was about thigh high, but off the plate. And now it's a hitter's count 3-1 to De La Cruz. Keep him off the base pass. I don't care how many outs there are. And De La Cruz steps back into the box. And here's the 3-1. Strike, curveball right down Broadway, 82 miles an hour. And that brings the count full 3 balls and 2 strikes to the lefty hitting shortstop for Cincinnati. Now here's the 3-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3. Down goes De La Cruz for the third and final out of the inning. De La Cruz has struck out twice so far in this game. We head to the top of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Cardinals out at the Great American Ballpark. I'm Paul D., and this is Bombers Game Mic. Let us go to the chat. I became a Cardinals fan in the late 70s growing up in St. Louis. I know the feeling, not growing up as a Cardinal fan in the 70s, but having great baseball that was your home, your hometown, growing up. I was lucky enough to experience that as a Yankee fan. Really some amazing teams there. So I know how you're feeling. I know what that's like. But definitely keep them coming. Where did you see your first Major League Baseball game? Cardinals game, any game? Doesn't matter. I like hearing your reminiscence. Baseball is a very romantic sport with its own history and your own personal history following it. It's because it's an everyday game for 6 months a year. It's basically like going through and reading one chapter of the book. You don't know what the final outcome is going to be, so it's always while you're reading a new book. And then just kind of paging through it. And it's on in the car when you're running errands, or maybe you're on a road trip. Or it's on at, a Memorial Day or 4th of July or Labor Day barbecue somewhere in the background. On TV, the volume is all the way down. We got 3 or 4 guys huddling around, especially, if the team is good. And it really just kind of embeds in us and really begins to take root in a way that the other big 3 sports don't really do, as awesome as they are. That's how I think about baseball. That's how I've thought about baseball certainly most of my adult life, being able to reflect on it. And we await the top of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Cardinals, 1-3-0 Cards, 0-2-0 Reds. And here's Jordan Walker leading it off. It's a righty-righty matchup against the righty Petty. Here's the pitch. Down and away, a sweeper and out of the zone. The count is 1-0. Did anyone see the T. Hernandez at-bat? He was trying to avoid getting hit by the ball, and they said he struck out. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swinging strike on the slider, down and away. Swung right over the top of that one, did Jordan. And the count is now 1-1. Old Busch Stadium versus the Cubs, when the Cubs had the blue pinstripe uniforms, and Gary Templeton was the shortstop before Ozzie Smith. Here's the 1-1. Strike, sinker, outside corner at the knees, 96 miles an hour. And Jordan Walker here, he's in the hole, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Top of the 4th inning. It's 1-0 Cardinals out in Cincinnati in Game 2 of this split doubleheader. And boy, Chase Petty is head to toe in red. He's found his sign. He comes to the full wind. Here's the 1-2. Off the plate, a sweeper. Floated over the lefty batter's box. That'll even out the count at 2-2. My uncle took me to my first game while visiting from Florida. I was 10 years old. Year 1966. Cheers. 2-2 pitch. He foul-tipped that slider down and away just to stay alive in this at-bat. And count remains 2-2. And it looks like Chase Petty, in the webbing of his glove, has some sort of kanji worked into it. Custom-made glove. Benefits to being a major leaguer. It's a 2-2 count. Petty has his sign. He winds, and here's the 2-2. Chopped down the third base side and out of play on a sinker, 95 miles an hour. The count remains 2-2. Yeah, no, these are things that we take through us our entire life. Nobody on, nobody out. Top of the 4th inning. It's a 2-2 count to Jordan Walker. From the full wind is Petty. He deals. Low down and away on a changeup, 87 miles an hour, and that brings the count full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And apparently, Chase Petty, it meditates in the outfield on the warning track before he starts the game. I don't think I've ever seen that outright in pregame. Here's a 3-2. Hit on out there to left center field, and it will split the outfielders and go all the way to the wall. Fielding off the carom and coming into second with a stand-up double is Jordan Walker with nobody out. So a leadoff stand-up double for Jordan Walker starting off the top of the 4th inning for the Redbirds. And he just got quite a bit of that one. And the center fielder and left fielder were spaced very far apart. Nobody was getting to that ball. Walker leads off second. And now here is Nolan Gorman with his second at-bat. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Coming set at the belt is Petty. He deals. Changeup down, away, and out of the zone. And that brings the count to 1-0. Nolan Gorman, he's 1 for 1 with that single back in the second. He's got himself a runner in scoring position here, following that stand-up double by Jordan Walker. Now here's the 1-0 pitch. Up and away, missed the zone, a sinker, 95 miles an hour, and that brings the count to 2-0. Giving me chills. Miss all the big-time radio broadcasters. I'll get back to that in a moment. Coming set from the stretch is Petty. Here's the 2-0. Hit on down left field line. Charging in is the left fielder. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Giving me chills. Miss all the big-time radio broadcasters. Spent time in the Bay Area. Love listening to John Miller, Mike Krukow. Well, you're talking about a legendary broadcasting duo right there. Jordan is in the groove. Yeah, he really is. All of 2026. Alrighty, now here is Mason Wynn for his second at-bat. And here's the pitch. Hit to the right side and caught on a line there by the first baseman for the second out of the inning. So he actually got decent wood on that, but low down there at first, got a good hop, managed to snag it out of the air. He was playing well off the bag on that one. And that'll be the second out of the inning. Hello, reporting in from Dixon, Missouri. Welcome back to Game 2. Thank you so much. I'll have to get to the rest of that in a moment. Coming set is Petty. Here's the lefty Torres for his second at bat. Here's the pitch. A sweeper off the plate for a ball. The count is 1-0. Torres, the lefty, he's 1 for 1 here in Game 2. He had a single back in the second. He's having quite a day for his first day in Major League Baseball. Coming set is Petty. He deals. Chopped to the right side, play there by the second baseman. He throws to first in time for the third and final out of the inning. So the Cardinals spoil that leadoff double by Jordan Walker. And we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's 1-0 Cardinals. I'm Paul D. Thank you all so much for coming here and showing up and enjoying a bit of Game 2 here of this split doubleheader. If you're enjoying what I do, please leave a like. Helps the channel out immensely. And if you are new here and you're not subscribed, or you're back again but haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that notification bell. You'll know when the action is going down. And after that, all I have to say is you are watching or listening to Bombers Game Mic. Let's take a look at the chat. Once again, hello, reporting in from Dixon, Missouri. Once again, thank you so much for coming back. Always welcome here. Have you heard if R. Fitz and Hunter Dobbins have healed from last year's injuries? Well, that's a really good question. Let's look it up. Well, I can tell you they are not on the roster at the moment. Well, it looks like Hunter Dobbins, as of May 21st, is playing down for the Lakeland Flying Tigers at the moment. And I'm not sure on Fitz. Okay, in the case of Fitz, he had season-ending lat surgery about a month ago. So I don't think we're going to be seeing him for a while. We need to get play against manager Skip when we play the Rangers. Okay. Was at the A's-Yankees Jeter getting Giambi at home. Oh, wow. Okay. I'll put that on ice. Here's the first pitch from Leahy. A strike, curveball inside corner above the knees to the lefty hitting Leahy, and the count is 0-1. From the full one, here's the 0-1. Changeup down and away, fouled off towards the Cardinal on deck circle. That makes the count quickly 0-2. So you are at the Oakland Coliseum for Game 5 of the ALDS in 2001. The classic flip play. You were in the ballpark for that. Man, how I wish I was there. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3 on the changeup, down and away. Down he goes. For the first out of the inning, Leahy has got his strikeout pitch going. No, I know you're talking about Giambi. I know. Remember, I'm also a Yankee fan. I was watching that game live. I was 14 years old at the time in 9th grade, but I remember it pretty well. Now, here's the first pitch to the righty, Stewart. Just off the plate, a slider. Count is 1-0. It was 2001. That was the Game 5 of the ALDS 2001. Now, here is the 1-0 pitch. Just missed low on the sweeper on the outside corner, and that'll bring the count to 2 balls and no strikes. Sal Stewart, cleanup hitter. He's 0-1 with a ground out back in the first. From the full winds, Leahy. Here's the pitch. Up and away, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, and that brings the count to 3-0. So, will Stewart go into statue mode? Let's find out. Here's the 3-0. Ball 4 on the four-seam fastball up and in. So Leahy will put the runner on with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. And so Cincinnati's got themselves a base runner here. That was the 52nd pitch for Leahy so far in this outing, through 3 1/3 inning of work. Now here's the lefty, the first baseman, Nate Lowe, who's 0-1 with the ground out. Here's the pitch. Just missed up and away with the four-seam fastball. And the count is now 1 ball and no strike to the lefty hitting Nate Lowe. He is their first baseman. Runner leads off first. Common set at the Birds is Leahy. Here's the pitch. Strike, curveball on the outer third above the knees, and the count is 1-1. By the way, rain OTW to St. Louis here in Dixon, expecting 1 inch of rain tonight. Oh boy. Now here's the pitch. Down and in, a changeup out of the zone. That brings the count to 2-1. Not sure of the year. Also attended first 6 home openers with Bonds as a Giant. Oh, so you're familiar with Candlestick Park. I hear that was a difficult place to watch a game. Now here's the 2-1 pitch. Hit on out to right field. Right there and played on a hop is Jordan Walker. He had to dive to stop that ball from going to the wall, and he managed to do that. And that is a 1-out single. And that puts runners on first and second, 1 out. Little shaken up on the dive there is Jordan Walker. Hopefully he didn't pull anything on that. But he managed to stop the ball. That was some very, very first-class defense on his part. Yes, he is definitely a beast. Hopefully he's all right. When you see somebody outstretched like that, he's shaking anybody off. He doesn't want to hear anything of it. Jordan Walker is a pro's pro. And despite how much of a beast he has been, and yes, Roger Baseman, he has indeed been a beast. He is very low-key. As I was saying earlier, he's kind of like a ninja. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, bam, boom. He has made a serious difference in a game. Whether that be with his bat, with his glove, with his arms, or with his feet. Now, here's the second baseman, the righty hitting Matt McLean. He's 0 for 1 with a flyout back in the second. Runners on first and second with 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Here's the first pitch. Strike, slider on the outside corner at the knees, and that brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. Gotta stay dry. Runners lead off first and second. It's an 0-1 count. Here's the pitch. And it is being challenged. It was initially called a ball. It is challenged by Pages, and I think he has a good claim here. Let's see what happens. And it was indeed a strike, and that'll bring the count from 1-1 instead to 0-2. Great call here by Pages. Mark my words, catchers are going to turn their ABS stats into dollars and cents come free agency, whatever that model looks like after the lockout. Coming set is Leahy at the Birds. And here's the 0-2. In the dirt, blocked, kind of gets away from Pages, and the runners both move up 90 feet. So now it's runners at second and third with 1 out. It is ruled a wild pitch. And, of course, it is a ball. And that brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. So now the Reds have themselves 2 runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs. Now the righty McLean steps back in the box. It is a righty-righty matchup. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. Here's the 1-2. Swinging strike 3. Down he goes for the second out of the inning. Some clutch pitching there by Leahy. Getting him there, looks like on a slider away. Well, thank you so much, David Hodge. Thank you so much. Now, runners on second and third with 2 out. Coming set is Leahy to lefty Benson. Here's the pitch. Fouled off his foot on the curveball, and that makes the count 0-1. Will Benson, the right fielder, he's 1 for 1 with a single back in the second. So Leahy's trying to work out of this jam that he's gotten himself into. Got no one to blame after that wild pitch. He looks in for the pitch come from Pages, and he comes set at the Bird at the stretch. Here's the 0-1. Just missed down and away with the changeup. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. It is a righty-lefty matchup. Looking in for the sign. He comes set at the stretch and at the Birds. Here's the 1-1. Swinging strike on the changeup down and away to the left-hander. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Leahy is 1 strike away from getting out of this jam that he created. Benson, he steps back in the box. He is the 7 hitter here tonight in the Reds lineup. Coming set at the Birds is Leahy. Here's a 1-2. Just missed inside. I do not know where. However, Pages is not challenging it, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looking in for the sign. Coming set is Leahy. He deals. In the dirt, stopped the curveball there. Luckily, Pages was able to rake that thing in. It bounced about right in front of the plate. He was able to pick it up on the backhand right behind the lefty Benson. And that brings the count now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners on second and third, 2 out, 1-0 Cardinals in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's the 3-2. Called strike 3. Down Benson goes for the final out of the bottom of the 4th inning. So he gets in and out of trouble. And we head to the top of the 5th inning. It's 1-0 Redbirds. I'm Paul D. And if you know somebody who for whatever reason can't get the game and you think they would enjoy my call of it here on YouTube, please do share it with them. I'd much appreciate that. And if you're digging the stream, please hit a like. And if you want to see more and you're not already subscribed, please do so. And with that, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Dodgers on board. Hey, Dodgers fans are welcome here too. You are among one of the legacy franchises, along with the Cardinals and the Yankees and the Giants, and I guess the Red Sox. But we don't like talking about them much, y'all. Well, I don't at least. All right, we're waiting the top of the 5th inning. Really an impressive showing there by Leahy, getting in and out of trouble, finding his strikeout pitch. And boy, oh boy, do I like calling him and punching him out myself. Very gratifying experience on my part every time I get to record a strikeout by a Cardinal pitcher. And I imagine you watching, wherever you may be listening or watching, get some joy out of it as well. No, we don't like the Bo Sox around here. Hell yeah. Rah. That's what I'm talking about, the Fire Phoenix. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, boy. Yeah, I've been to, okay, well, here's something new. Dodgers. I have 3 favorite teams. Cardinals first, Giants second, and anybody playing the Dodgers. Well, that makes the chat awfully interesting. Everybody is welcome here. I am a Cardinals fan, and the Dodgers are down 3-1. And also, let me know, are you guys enjoying the new score ticker that I have up there? I know a lot of you like to score watch, so I wanted to make it easy for you. Now, here's the first pitch to Pages. Strike, sinker right down Broadway, and the count is now 0 balls and 1 strike. Pedro Pages, he's 0 for 1 with a pop out back in the 2nd. From the full wind, Petty is looking in for a sign. He finally has it. He comes wind, and here's the 0-1 to Pages. Slider down and away, floats over the left to batter's box, and the count's 1-1. We have a Braves fan in the audience. Well, heck, welcome aboard. I hope you're enjoying the call. Man, it almost looks like Petty is fidgeting out there waiting for his sign. Now, here's the 1-1. Strike, sinker, outside corner thigh, high to Pages, and the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. My favorite team, Cardinals, second team, Royals. Well, you definitely have Major League loyalty to the state of Missouri. I can get behind that. It's a 1-2 count to Pages, and Petty just kind of like rocks back and forth, waiting to get his pitch calm and find his pitch. He comes one, the 1-2. Just off the plate, a sweeper. And that brings the count 2-2 to the righty Pages. He has his sign, does Petty. He winds. Here's the 2-2. Hit on out there to shallow left center field. Underneath it is the left fielder. He comes in. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Was at the Braves Deion Sanders football game at Candlestick. Drinking help Candlestick experience. I appreciate the honesty in that one. I have to imagine alcohol, as Homer Simpson once said, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Now here's the first pitch for Victor Scott. Hit on out there, popped right up in the infield. Underneath it is Ellie De La Cruz. He pulls it in for the second out of the inning. So 1 pitch, 1 out to Vic Scott. And that'll be 2 out in the top of the 5th inning. That's when I became a fan. Cardinals versus Royals World Series. I'm from Puerto Rico. So that would be 1985, as I recall. I finally jumped off the Ollie No More bandwagon. He can't complain with the job he's done so far. Now, here's the first pitch to Witherholt. Foul back behind the plate and out of play on a 94-mile-per-hour sinker. The count is 0-1. JJ, he's 1 for 2 tonight with a single back in the 3rd. The lefty steps back into the box. Petty's from the full wind, and here's the 0-1. Chop foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count is now 0-2. Dodgers went ahead 4-3. Go crazy. Chase Petty has thrown his 50th pitch right there on his last one to Witherholt in 4 2/3 innings of work. No strikeouts, 3 groundouts, 11 flyouts. This definitely has been a pitcher's duel. From the full wind is Petty, and the 0-2 pitch. Off the plate, a changeup for a ball. Went slightly over the righty batter's box. The count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. So this game is just kind of clipping right along, very much to the persuasion of the pitcher. Petty winds, and here's the 1-2. Upstairs, a 4-seam fastball for a ball, 95 miles an hour. And that evens out the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. One 0 Cardinals here in the top of the 5th inning. 2 out, nobody on. It's a 2-2 count to J.J. Witherholt. Petty has his sign, and he deals. Called strike 3 on the slider on the outside corner at the knees for the 3rd and final out of the inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th. 1-4-0 Cardinals, 0-3-0 for the Reds. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mic. 1-0 Redbirds. So, any more reminiscences from your first Major League game? I'm really enjoying these. These are fun. Like I said, baseball is a very romantic game. It's also a game that's very steeped in its own history, in a way the other big 3 aren't. And I was recently rewatching Ken Burns' Baseball, and I am just shocked at how well that documentary stands up now 35 years after it was first released. And boy, and Buck O'Neil, man, he has so much on-camera charisma. You just like, it's like you want to, you wish he was your uncle. Just such a great storyteller, but he's not the only one, of course. Robert Creamer in that, in Ken Burns' Baseball is also amazing, especially when he's talking about Babe Ruth and baseball in the 50s in New York, because I guess it's the 7th inning in that documentary that covers baseball in New York in the 1950s when they had 3 good teams all competitive at once. My dad told me I was born with a Cards hat on, and no one has told him he was wrong. Hey, there is nothing better than a fandom that you inherit, that you're born into, or in some way are reasonably physically or emotionally connected to through a person or having lived in a place. Pretty much all of mine are just like that. Obviously, I grew up in the New York City area in the mid to late 90s and through, the mid 2000s, great Yankee teams. I lived in Chicago, didn't pick up any of the Chicago teams, But I married into a Cardinal family. My grandparents, my Italian grandparents in particular, my grandfather was a big Yankee fan. So I remember used to watch it. We used to go over there on Saturdays, and I'd watch the Yankee games on the Fox Saturday afternoon game of the week with him. Very good memories here. Now, here's the first pitch to the bottom of the first. Hit to left field, and playing on a hop there is Torres. So the Reds have themselves a leadoff single in the bottom of the fifth inning. Just jumping all over Leahy there with the first pitch. Yeah, Ken Burns is awesome. I haven't watched the Revolutionary War documentary yet, but it's on the bucket list. I watched the 1985 World Series in a black and white 14 or 15-inch TV. That is a legit experience. Now here is the 9-hitter, Friedel. He's hitting left-handed. Here's the pitch. He shows bunt. He puts it down, and it's there. It's fielded by the third baseman. Throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. However, the runner does, in fact, move up to second, so it is a sacrifice bunt by Friedel. We don't see that nearly enough in baseball anymore, and I miss it. No, I'm not keeping a scorebook. Unfortunately, I can't do it all at once. I wish I could. There's just too much for me to focus on and manage all at once to be able to put it down like that. Otherwise, I definitely would. Runner on second, one out. Leahy from the stretch. He deals inside a sinker for a ball. And the count is 1-0 to the righty Dunn, who's 1 for 2 tonight. And here's the 1-0. Hit on out to the right side and in for a base hit. Played on a hop there by Victor Scott. He keeps the runner at third amazingly. I don't know how he pulled that off, but it definitely worked. And so a one-out single there by Dunn. And it is runners on first and third and one out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. All right. First game at Old Connie Mack Stadium as a Phillies fan in the mid-'60s. Played my current favorite team, the Redbirds. Fellow Italiano here. Cheers to a fellow Italiano. Runners lead off first and third with one out. And here is the lefty, Ellie De La Cruz, who's 0 for 2. Common stat is Leahy. Here's the first pitch of De La Cruz. Strike, sweeper right down Broadway. And the count is now 0-1 to De La Cruz. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. They managed to keep him down in game one. And now it'd be a good thing to continue. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Hit down. Hit out to left field. Looking up. And it is gone. A 3-run home run by Ellie De La Cruz with one out here in the bottom of the fifth inning. It was a low line shot out there to left field. Easily went 3 or 4 rows deep over the high wall and left at Great American Ballpark. And it is now a 3-1 Reds lead. And he got everything on that. All his frustrations going over in game one and then 2 strikeouts so far in game 2 were unleashed on that home run to left field. It is now 3-1 Reds here in the bottom of the fifth inning. The Cardinals offense definitely has its work cut out for it, as does Cardinal pitching here at this point. From the full wind, here's the first pitch to lefty Blady. Foul tipped. Rolls over towards the Reds on deck circle, and the count is now 0-1. J.J. Belletti, he's 0 for 2 with a flyout and a strikeout. Here's a pitch. Hit down the third base side and out of play, 95 miles an hour, and the count is now 0-2. Guarin is back. Tulsa, Oklahoma in the house. I hope your drive home is gone safely and well. Here's the 0-2. Swinging strike 3 on the fastball up and away for the second out of the inning. So, he gets the strikeout there. So, Guarin, Leahy, 5.6 pitches per out. 101 pitches to 18 outs at this rate. Frowny face. Yeah, that one the other way by De La Cruz, about 3 or 4 rows deep over the high wall. Now, here's the first pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner. And the count is now 0-1 to the righty hitter. Coming winds Leahy. Here's the 0-1. A sweeper just off the plate, 85 miles an hour. And that brings the count to 1-1. Leahy is working fast. Here's the 1-1. Just off the plate with that sweeper. It called a ball. Did not have the plate. Was about thigh high. The count is now 2-1. Now here's the 2-1. Hit down the right field side. Giving chase towards the corner is Walker, but it goes clear into the stands. And the count is now 2-2. Thank you for narrating the game for us that can't watch it. Are you doing most Cardinal games? Yeah, I am now. Yeah. In fact, I would say that's become the focus of this channel. Now it's a 2-2 count to the righty, Sal Stewart. He's the 4-hitter. He's 0 for 1. Here's the 2-2. Upstairs, nowhere near the zone, 95 miles an hour, and that brings the count full 3-2. Cincinnati Reds win by 2 or more at 57% on the market right now. Okay. 8 strikeouts so far tonight by Kyle Leahy, which is a career high. It's a full count to Sal Stewart, who is 0 for 1. He digs back into the box. Here's the 3-2. Called strike 3, and it is challenging that one immediately. So we have to await the ABS result here. Sal Stewart immediately tapped his helmet, and he is correct, and the call is overturned. So Sal Stewart will take his base down at first. And the inning continues here in the bottom of the 5th. Little chat there at first base between the first base coach and Sal Stewart. And there is a little chat there on the mound between Leahy and the pitching coach. The entire infield is getting in on this powwow. Leahy is looking kind of gassed at the moment. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. How many pitches has he thrown? All right, he's thrown 81 pitches. And now here is the lefty hitting low, who's 1 for 2. Runner on first with 2 out, bottom of the 5th inning. 3-1 Cincinnati on the power of the Ellie De La Cruz 3-run shot this inning to left field. Nate Lowe, the first baseman, he's 1 for 2 with a single back in the 4th. Back on the bump is Leahy. He is from the stretch, and he sets at the Birds. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Now here's the pitch. Check swing. Did he go around on the changeup down the way? Yes, says Blue down the third baseline. And the count is now 0-1 strike. Runner leads off first. Coming set is Leahy at the Birds. He deals. Just missed off the plate. About thigh high. And that brings the count 1-1 strike. He's looking to get out of this inning. He comes set. He deals. Hit on out to right center field. Going back, looking up, and it is gone. A long home run by Nate Lowe to right center field. And that will give the Reds a 5-1 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That was an absolute no-doubter off the bat of Nathaniel Lowe. And he is braced at home plate, as you managed she would be. So it is now a 5-1 Reds lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. I can't imagine it will be long before Ollie Marmol has to go to the pen. And now here's the first pitch to the righty, McLean. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, on a slider, which was actually called strike anyway. And the count is now 0-1. So a huge inning here for the Cincinnati Reds. Here's the 0-1. Swinging strike on the sweeper down and away. Swung right over the top of that one, did the righty McLean. And the count is now 0-2 strikes. And that was always the bugaboo. I was talking about this in Game 1. This Reds team, they've got a lot of pop in the bat. And this is a ballpark that caters to it. Here's the 0-2. Hit on out to right center field. Going back is Victor Scott in front of the track. He hauls it in for the third and final out of the inning. But not before the Reds put up a 5-spot. First on the 3-run job by Ellie De La Cruz to left center field. And then the 2-run job to right center by Nathaniel Lowe. We head to the top of the 6th inning. It's 5-1 Reds at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm Paul D. This is Bombers Game Mike. I don't know that he left him in too long. It was reasonable to leave him out there to get out of the inning, at least to begin with. But you know what? Long balls happen. And it's easy to second guess. But if I had been Ollie Mermel, I would have been rather keen on him finishing the inning myself. So I can't second guess that. If I'm not first guessing it, second guessing it's not really worth very much. Okay. I had a hot lineup today. Miami pitcher for San Francisco and 4 Seattle batters. I won today in fantasy. Warren, you're having quite the stretch in fantasy based on what you've told me so far. I really appreciate you keeping me posted on that. I always find fantasy super interesting. My grandma was born in Palermo, Sicily. Cheers to all that are the same. My great-grandfather, so my mother's mother, so my grandmother on my mom's side, her father, so my great-grandfather, was also born in Palermo. So I have a little bit of Sicilian going on. But most of my Italian actually happens on my dad's side, where my grandfather was born and raised on the island of Ischia, off of Naples. It's the sister island to Capri. And my grandmother was born in the mountain farming town of Mintorno. They both lived through the Second World War. In fact, Mintorno was the western anchor of the German winter defensive line, the Gustav Line. It's about 25 kilometers to the west of Cassino, which, if you know your World War II history and the Battle of Monte Cassino, you can have some appreciation for it. Now, here's the first pitch to Herrera, and he is drilled on the left arm, and he'll take his base. So Petty comes in here. First pitch of the top of the 6th. Gets Ivan Herrera right there on the meaty part of the left shoulder. And the Cardinals have a runner on first with nobody out in the top of the 6th. You know, that's a really good question. I don't know what the corresponding move was. I don't know if he was on the 40-man already, honestly. Now, here's the lefty Burleson. He's 0 for 2. Here's the pitch. Hit it down the right field side and through for a base hit. And it's going into the corner, fielded there by the right fielder. Going all the way to third is Herrera. And there's a headfirst sliding double for Alec Burleson. And the Cardinals have runners on second and third. And nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. So they are trying to respond here to that 5 spot in the bottom of the 5th by the Reds. Ultimately, I would have to check what the corresponding move is there. But yeah, that was quite a slide head first on the part of Alec Burleson. Now here's Jordan Walker, and here's the pitch. Chopped down the third base side and out of play, and the count is 0-1. I want the pond full of ducks. Let's go. Hey, Warren, I'm all for that. It's an 0-1 count to Jordan Walker. Runners on second and third. Nobody out here in the top of the 6th. It's 5-1 Cincinnati. He is 1 for 1 with a walk, a double, and a run scored. Here's the pitch. Foul back and out of play on a sinker in on the hands at 96 miles an hour. And that brings the that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Okay, they didn't send anyone down. Okay, so he must have already been on the 40, man. Coming set is Petty at the belt. Time is granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of Jordan Walker. Count remains 0-2. Thank you for that bit of information, Warren. And yeah, of course, Nathan Church he's on the 10-day IL, so the roster spot was open. Coming set, here's the 0-2. Hit down the first base side and out of play on a 95-mile-per-hour sinker. Yeah, you do have those Michael Corleone eyes. Well, thank you so much. I tried to get out, but they keep dragging me back in. Coming set is Petty. Here's the 0-2. Sweeper down away in the dirt. Nowhere near the zone. The count's 1-2. What's with the Cardinals getting hits by pitch? It's becoming like a thing. Am I wrong? Actually, I think they're among the most plunked teams in baseball, oddly enough. Coming set at the belt is Petty. Runners on second and third, nobody out. Here's the 1-2. Upstairs with the sinker, 96 miles per hour, nowhere near the zone. That'll bring the count even at 2-2. Yeah, you all just keep dragging me back in, you amazing Cardinal fans. Now I have to call every game, and I'm happy to do it. Now, here's the 2-2 pitch. Just low on the sweeper. Just out of the zone, but there is no challenge there. Grandpa came over, I think, 1918 or 1919. Grandma was an arranged marriage. Oh, that's interesting. I'll get back to that in a moment. It's a full count to Jordan Walker. And here's a 3-2. Hit on out there to left center field. Going back to the track, looking up. And it is long gone. A 3-run home run for Jordan Walker. And the Cardinals are back in this game. The Reds now lead the Cards 5-4 here in the top of the 6th inning. Oh, some 6th-inning lightning by Jordan Walker, who's having an incredible doubleheader today. Oh, boy. That thing was coming down somewhere in the state of Kentucky. Oh, my goodness. What a bomb-ola there by Jordan Walker. That was just a hanging breaking ball down and in, and he did not miss. Oh, what a bomb-ola by Jordan Walker. And it is now a 5-4 Red leads, and they go to the bullpen. Coming out of this game is Chase Petty. And this is a ball game all over again, folks. Jordan Walker, he's putting together that all-star campaign, starting out right for the National League. He's putting together the early resume for the NL MVP. Yeah, baby, called that one beast mode. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Jordan Walker. Oh, boy. He knew it right off the bat. Beautiful stuff. Hey, leave a like on this play-by-play stream for the amazing bat of Jordan Walker, if you haven't done so already. Hope we can win our 30th game. Yes, absolutely. And also, I asked the question earlier, but I am curious, how are you guys enjoying the Around the League, up-to-date, up-to-the-minute score bug at the bottom of the screen? Is it helping you with your score watching? I want to know. I put it there because you guys are score watching, and I wanted to give you the best experience possible. Like I was saying in the first stream, nothing but the best for the audience of Bombers Game Mike. Oh, I'm really glad the Fire Phoenix. I'm glad you're enjoying the score ticker at the bottom there. We're getting the it Around the League. So I'm glad you're appreciating it. Thank you. I do. The feedback really does help. So there's still nobody out in the top of the 6th inning. Now here's Nolan Gorman, and here's the first pitch. Four-seam fastball for a ball. The count is 1-0. 5 innings pitched for Petty. 6 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And they challenged it using ABS, and it's confirmed it missed by 0.2 inches, so it is indeed a 1-0 count to Nolan Gorman. Here is the lefty Brock Burke, 24 games, a 1-2 record, a 3.57 ERA through 22 and 2/3 innings pitched. 25 strikeouts against 14 walks. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike on a four-seam fastball up and in at 96 miles an hour, and that'll bring the count to 1-1. Everything looks great, real professional. I'm hooked. Format is great. Thank you so much. That is both one, very helpful, and two, I'm really happy to hear it. Here's the 1-1. It's a ball downstairs on the four-seam fastball and brings the count to 2-1 strike. And, of course, Jordan Walker wearing that big gold chain and pendant got the dog in me after that big 3-run bombola. Now, here's the pitch. Swinging strike on the four-seam fastball upstairs, 95 miles an hour. Had some rise on that one. Did the pitch from Burke. Nolan Gorman, he's 1 for 2 with a single back in the second. It's a lefty-lefty matchup. Coming set at the belt is Burke. And here's the 2-2. Chopped down towards third base. Fielded by De La Cruz deep in the hole. He throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. De La Cruz did range fair amount over towards the third base line side to make that play. Yeah, the gangster bling, 100%. They're just showing all the pitches of the Jordan Walker at-bat. And Jordan Walker was, for a couple of moments, appreciating his own work. There's a strike on the outside corner. And the count is now 0-1 to Mason Wynn. Nobody on, 1 out, top of the 6th, 5-4 Reds. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging strike over a changeup downstairs. Swung over the top of that one did Mason Wynn, who himself is 0 for 1 with a sac fly and an RBI back in the second. Count is no balls and 2 strikes to the righty hitting shortstop for St. Louis. Coming set is the lefty Burke. Here's the 0-2. Fouled straight back on the four-seam fastball up and away at 98 miles per hour. That is gas. And the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, 1 out. Top of the 6th, 5-4 Reds. Coming sets Burke. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs, up and in with the fastball, 99 miles per hour. That was a little bit of chin music there to Mason Wynn, though most certainly not intentionally in this case. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Coming set is Burke. Here's the 1-2. Missed on a changeup out and away for a ball, and the count comes even at 2-2. He's looking in for the sign is Burke. He comes set above the belt. And here's a 2-2 pitch. Hit on out there to shallow right field. Coming in as the right fielder. He makes the catch for the second out of the inning. So right now the Cardinals are desperately looking to keep this inning rolling. They are now only down by 1 with their own big top of the 6th following the huge bottom of the 5th. Now here's the lefty, Brian Torres. He's 1 for 2. He singled in the second. Having a great major league debut on both sides of this doubleheader. It's a lefty-lefty matchup. And here's the first pitch. Away, a slider for a ball, 87 miles per hour. The count is 1-0. Burke has his sign. He comes set. And he deals. Away for a ball, a sinker. Floats slightly over the righty batter's box. Count is now 2 balls and no strikes. Now, Brian Torres, I believe he is natively from Puerto Rico. Great story. 28-year-old rookie. Over 500 games in the minors. They found him out playing in the Independent Atlantic League, and I've watched a lot of Independent Atlantic League baseball in my life. Here's the 2-0. Strike, four-seam fastball right down Broadway, and that brings the count to 2-1. I did not grow up far away from the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. Here's the foul down the third base side and out of play. The count's 2-2. Rather, the Bridgeport Bluefish, until they folded about at the end of 2017, and they moved up to New Britain, Connecticut, to form a continuation franchise. It's a lefty-lefty matchup. Burke comes set at the belt. And here's a 2-2. Just missed off the plate with that four-seam fastball at 98 miles per hour. And the count is now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Torres. Reminds me of a right-handed Dave Parker. Well, that is quite the comparison. May he rest in peace. Coming set is Burke. Now here's the 3-2 pitch. Fouled down the third base side, now to play. Once again on a four-seam fastball, 97 miles per hour, up and away. Walker should admire his turnaround. Yeah, no doubt. So happy for the kid. Weatherholt, too. And the new kid's great. Yeah, absolutely. Coming set is Burke. And here's a 3-2. Off the plate, ball 4. And so a 2-out walk here by Burke. And Brian Torres will take his base. Why do you think they put Petty on the bench if he was doing so well? I mean, he pitched 5+ innings and gave up 4 runs. I mean, I just think it was time. And they're probably protecting his young arm. He is only 23. Now here's Pedro Pajes. He's 0 for 2. Here's the first pitch. Grounded towards the third base side. Fielded there by the third baseman. He throws to first in time for the third and final out of the inning. However, after the big 3-run Jordan Walker bombola, the Cards creep within 5-4 of the Reds. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It is 5-4 Cincinnati. I'm Paul D. If you're enjoying the stream and you haven't liked it yet, please do. It helps out a young, small channel. And if you're new here, or you returned here, and you haven't subscribed and hit the notification, please do if you dig what I'm doing. And you like my call Redbirds games. You'll know when the action is ready, probably about a half hour before it goes down, to be certain at the very least. And I always put scheduling notes before every game when Game Mike goes live. So there is that. But with that in mind, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Oh, well, I forgot about the runs. How could I? He gave up 3 of those in the last inning, right? That'd be the nail in the coffin. Pretty much. Let's go Cards. Amen. Okay. So we await the bottom of the 6th inning right now. I imagine Ali Marma will be going to the bullpen. I don't really know how he couldn't be. Let's see what we got here. Well, there's nothing on record yet, but we'll find out very shortly as we await the bottom of the 6th. Whatever the matter is, keep the Reds right here. That's the mission statement. That's the remit. And just as a programming note, I will be here for the 3rd game of this series tomorrow afternoon, which I think starts at 12:15 Central Time. And Game Mike will go live about 12:05, 12:10. Yes, Dandelion 158. Everybody give the thumbs up. Yeah. Nah, they're still in 3 innings. That's a lot. With a capable offense like the Cardinals, yeah, definitely. They just got to keep the Reds right here. And most importantly, keep them in the ballpark. And indeed, there has been a pitching change. In comes the lefty Justin Brule through 18 games, a 0-0 record, a 5.29 ERA through 17 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts against 13 walks. And it is a lefty-righty matchup with the righty Steer. Here's the first pitch. Fouled down the first base side and out of play. The count is 0-1. That was a sinker down and in. Spencer Steer, he's hitting .270 on the year with 7 home runs, 18 RBIs, a .783 OPS through 49 games. He is the pinch hitter. Coming sets the lefty Brule. Here's the 0-1. Out and away, a sinker for a ball. And the count is now 1-1. Yeah, Steer is in for the right fielder Benson. So this is his first at-bat. Here's the 1-1. Just missed off the plate with a sweeper. And the count is now 2 balls and 1 strike. Spencer Steer, 315, 10 extra base hits in his last 31 games and 21 run scores, an 874 OPS in that time. That's impressive. Now here's the 2-1. Foul down the first base side and out of play. On a sinker, once again down and in. I'm watching the game, Dodgers and Brewers, and they were talking to that pitcher that we face on Monday. Oh, Jacob Misiorowski. Let's put it this way. He's a spectacle and a real challenge. Here's the 2-2. Chopped down the third base side and out of play. Misiorowski is a special talent, and he really looks like he has ice in his veins when he pitches. I hope the success against another all-worlder like Paul Skeens can carry over against Jacob Misiorowski on Monday. Now here's the 2-2 pitch. Chopped and foul, just got a piece of that sinker down and away, and the count remains 2-2. As I was saying about Jacob Misiorowski, and we'll see it here together on Monday afternoon on Memorial Day, observed. He really does look like a high school senior. He has a total baby face. Put him in a cheap tuxedo, and you'd think he's going to his high school senior prom. Now here's the 2-2 pitch. Out and away, a changeup, nowhere near the zone, floats over the lefty batter's box, and the count is now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Common set is Brule. Here's the 3-2 to Steer. Head on out there to left field, and it splits the outfielders and goes all the way to the wall. Fielding it there is Torres. Going into second is Steer with a stand-up leadoff double in the bottom of the 6th inning. Our bench isn't bad either. Pozo is clutch in pinch hitting. Hopefully Sagasi improves after that 0 for 30. Yes, let's just say he's due. Anyway, there, stand-up double right there for Steer. So our runner on second with nobody out for the Reds here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 5-4 Cincinnati here in Game 2 of the split doubleheader. Brule comes set to the righty Higgins, who shows bunt. He puts it down, and it is hit foul. It hit off of the runner, and it is called a strike. It hit Higgins, so it is a dead ball. And you can see here on the replay, it hits the bat twice, in fact, both times in foul territory. So that brings it to an 0-1. Runner on second, nobody out. It's an 0-1 count here in the bottom of the 6th, 5-4 Cincinnati. It's an 0-1 count to Higgins. Now here's the 0-1. He's showing bunt again. He pulls back. It's a sinker for a ball. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. So he has definitely shown himself the threat to bunt. And that's something that the entire infield now has to keep in the back of their mind. A big old hole there to the left field side of second. Here's the pitch. He shows bunt. He pushes up first base. Fielded there by Brule. Tosses over to Burleson for the first out of the inning. Moving from second to third is Steer on the play. And now there is 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. I like Sagasi. He got out of that bad streak. He got a couple of hits after that. After a while, unless there is something truly wrong with the player, especially if there's an 0 for 30 streak, you figure they're going to turn it around. And there is a big old powwow out in the mound with Brule, where the entire infield is in on the discussion. However, there is no pitching coach present. And they're playing some fun lighting games there at Great American Ballpark for reasons. It's not impossible. I don't know what the numbers are between him and Misiorowski. Now, here's the pinch hitter, Dane Myers, the right-hander. He's hitting .236 this year. Runner is at third with 1 out, bottom of the 6th inning. Here's the first pitch. Foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count is 0-1. Game about to be tied. Well, I hope it is, at least on the part of the Cardinals. You got to end it right here. Runner on third, 1 out. It's an 0-1 count to the righty Myers. Here's the pitch. Hit on out there to left center field, and it splits the outfielders and goes all the way to the wall. The runner will score from third, and it's another stand-up double. And now Cincinnati leads this one 6-4 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. So Brule has definitely not come in and done the job. In this one, it was dead red, middle. Myers was all over it like a crow on curly fries, and it just split the outfielders, and here comes Ollie Marmol with the hook. And we go to the bullpen. Let's see who they're going to. The pitcher is not yet of record, so I'll let you know as soon as I know. But right now it is a 6-4 Reds lead with a runner on second and 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ooh, this has been a back and forth game. Now, don't worry about it. We all make this mistake. It happens. It happens. So how are you all spending your long Memorial Day weekend? Hopefully you get Monday off. Or sometime between now and then, of course. What do you guys have in mind? Going to any barbecues, any parties? You staying in? Hanging out with your significant other? My significant other, my wife, is a little under the weather right now, so I'm doing my best to look after her when I'm not calling games here. But because, well, frankly, that's part of my job. And it is a job I am all too happy to call my own. And the Cards really do need to keep the Reds right here if they want to stay in this ball game. Yeah, Ollie Marmol is not the greatest manager of the bullpen, I will admit. But to be fair, when we're talking wins and losses, at least so far this year, he's definitely earned some slack. Even though I have long thought him as a placeholder for Yadier Molina as manager. Now here's the righty Gordon Graceffo. This makes it a righty-righty matchup against the righty hitting Dunn. And here's the pitch. Slider down and away in the dirt. And the count is now 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, she's caught a little bit of a bug that she's trying to fight off, but she'll come through it. She's strong. She is very strong. Coming set at the Birds is Graceffo. Runner on second with 1 out. Here's the 1-0. Foul down the first base side and out of play on a 95-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball. And that brings the count to 1-1. Only time I get to eat plenty of burgers and ice cream I want. You picked a perfect occasion to do it. Now, Blake Dunn is back into the box. He's 2 for 3. Coming set. Here's the pitch. Check swing on the pitch up and in. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the first baseline. And that brings the count to 2-1. And yeah, you are right. It is a doubleheader. You have to give him some slack. You have to manage in a very particular way to be able to get through both of these games without burning out all of the arms available to you. And they're there for the next 4 days. Here's the pitch. Foul down the first base side and out of play on a four-seam fastball down Broadway, 96 miles an hour. And that brings the count to 2-2. Because you have to take care of both games on the day of the doubleheader. Then they play tomorrow. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up in Milwaukee. They don't have an off day till Thursday. So it's a difficult spot if you're the manager. Here's a 2-2. Called strike 3. Down he goes for the second out of the inning. So Gordon Graceffo, he comes right in and strikes out Dunn. But the inning ain't over yet. Here comes Ellie De La Cruz, who at his last at-bat hit a very impressive 3-run home run to get the Reds out ahead in this game. Runner on second with 2 out. First pitch to De La Cruz in the dirt, blocked there by Pages. Staying right down there at second is the runner, and the count is now 1 ball and no strikes. A nice little gauntlet there. Coming set is Graceffo. It's a righty-lefty matchup. And here's the 1-0 pitch. Strike, changeup, outside corner at the knees. That brings the count to 1-1. Ellie De La Cruz, 1 for 3 with that 3-run bombola back in the bottom of the 5th. Coming set at the Birds is Graceffo. Here's the 1-1. Strike, 4-seam fastball right down Broadway, 96 miles an hour. And that will bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ellie De La Cruz. The runner stands out there at second. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Coming set is Graceffo. He deals. Curveball in the dirt. Holding off there is De La Cruz, and that'll bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. At least the Cardinals are near Milwaukee and will be well rested. Yeah. Hopefully. It's quite a stretch they've got going here. A lot of NL Central action. Now here's the 2-2. Change up off the plate for a ball. And that will bring the count full 3-2 to Ellie of the Cross. Yeah, they're young. They absolutely can take it. Much better than us old-timers can. Here's the 3-2. Fouled down the third baseline and out of play. It was a 4-seam fastball up and in at 97 miles per hour. Not that I'm an old-timer. I recently had my 39th birthday, but my body tells me otherwise. The aging process is immense. Now, coming set is Graceffo for the 3-2 to De La Cruz. Here's the pitch. Down in the dirt, a curveball, ball 4. And that will put runners on first and second with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Patience on Yachty. I think he's next in line. I think you are absolutely right. I do think he's next in line. And on top of that, I think he will make a great manager. Now, here's J.J. Belady, the left-hand hitter. He's 0 for 3 with a flyout and a pair of strikeouts. He's at DH here in Game 2. Coming set at the Birds is Graceffo. Here's the pitch. Strike, 4-seam fastball, outside corner, thigh high, and that'll bring the count to no balls and 1 strike. Well, thank you on the setup. I do appreciate that. Coming set is Graceffo. And here's the 0-1. Up and away, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. And the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners lead off first and second. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. It's 6-4 Cincinnati. It's a 1-1 count to Belady. Here's the pitch. Curveball upstairs. Had the plate, was a bit too high, and the count is now 2 balls and 1 strike. Graceffo comes to the stretch. He deals. Foul back behind the plate and out of play on a 4-seam fastball at 97 miles per hour out and over the plate to the lefty Belady. And the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. I heard Yachty said he didn't want to be head coach because of the language barrier. I think he can probably work through it. I mean, I'm not denying that he may feel that way right now, but if given the opportunity, it's hard to say no. Here's the pitch. Hit to the right side, fielded there by Burleson on the hop. He takes it to the bag himself for the 3rd and final out of the inning. However, Cincinnati, they put 1 more across in the bottom of the 6th. We head to the top of the 7th inning. It's 6-4 Reds over the Redbirds. I'm Paul D. And if you're enjoying my stream, please leave a like. Helps a small and young channel grow. Appease the almighty algorithm. That's simply what we have to deal with here. And if you like what I do and you're not already subscribed, please do. And if there's a Cardinal fan that can't get the games every day because of the ridiculous situation with TV, share the stream with them if you think they'd like it. And with all that said, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Like number 75, subscriber 241. Oh, wow. I file a D-relay for Pirates games. I'll keep you in mind for Cardinals games. I am very much familiar with Dr. Delay. He's very solid. He does a very solid, very tight game. I've watched a fair amount of his stuff. Studied up on him a bit, too. Because he doesn't just do the Pirates games, he does a lot of other stuff. No, he's first class. I like his call. You think you can be as good as Jack Buck announcer? I am not even in, within several light years of a legend like Jack Buck. But I do know this. I am enjoying what I'm doing right here, right now. And if you guys are digging it, you keep coming back. We keep having fun. You seem to enjoy my calls. And I'm always trying to get better. So all I can say is I could hope to be within the same solar system as a guy like Jack Buck. That's like asking me, do you think you can be as good as Vin Scully? And the answer is, well, I might have to have some surgery done on my throat. I don't think it's possible to have that kind of golden voice that he did. But I just try to focus in on calling a good, tight game for all of you who keep coming back and enjoying my calls of Redbird action. We are back here for the top of the seventh inning. It's kind of like asking me, can I be as good as Babe Ruth? And the answer is, well, has anybody been, Here's the first pitch from Burke. It is up and in, but called a strike to Victor Scott. Count is no balls and one strike. No game anywhere in Tulsa. No. Here's the 0-1. Chopped up the middle. Played there on a couple of hops by De La Cruz. He throws to first in time to get Victor Scott for the first out of the top of the seventh. De La Cruz's defense, I would say, is probably one of the most underrated aspects of his game. He has so much range. I mean, if the ball is anywhere near him in the same area code, it seems like he can get to it, in addition to a very strong and accurate arm. Now here's J.J. Weatherholt for his fourth at-bat. He's 1 for 3 with a single in the third. Here's a pitch. Strike, slider, outside corner above the knees. The count is 0-1 to J.J. Weatherholt. It's a lefty-lefty matchup with the lefty Burke on the mound. Cardinals.tv isn't showing anything on DTV. Here's the 0-1. Slider down and away. Well, this game is being called on Fox right now. And the count is 1-1. It's the national Saturday night game. Well, thank you very much. Good radio voice. I will take that. Here's the pitch. Up and away for a ball. Slider must have just missed the plate or been a little high. If he had used an ABS challenge on that, I would not have blamed them. The Cardinals are up to bat. Top of the seventh. Nobody on, one out. Here's the pitch. Upstairs, a slider nowhere near the zone. And the count is now 3-1 to J.J. Weatherholt. This is very much a hitter's count. Oh boy. Now here's 3-1. Ball 4, so taking his base is J.J. Weatherholt with the one-out walk. And Tito Francona is going to the mound. He's making the slow walk out there. And he is going to the bullpen. And so we have a little bit of a break here. I landscaped Jack Buck's home that he was giving his daughter as a wedding present. That is one hell of a wedding present. I have to imagine it's probably a pretty nice house. You have a pleasant voice, good baseball sense, and humor. Compared to the king, well, I'll be back. Hey, there's no comparing me to the king like Jack Buck. Jack Buck, you get one of those, right? I'm just being Paul. Like number 85, Dr. Delay is in the house. No kidding. I have watched you, I've studied up on you a good deal getting in preparation for launching this channel. You know, find a way for you and I to reach out. I definitely like to chat a little bit one-on-one. Not business, but, well, I guess talk trade a bit. But no, you have a really solid call. I really enjoy your work. So thank you for showing up here. I'm glad you are in the audience. That's quite an accomplishment for me. One of the guys I was studying up on. I also like your framed terrible towel there that's on your right side. It's a really nice touch. In the late 70s, it was worth upwards of $2.3 million. Oh my God, to think of what it would cost today. Whoa. I do not want to calculate the inflation and various other factors go into it. Needless to say, that's a pretty penny for our house. So we wait for the continuation here after the pitching change. And now they are going to Graham Ashcraft, the right-hander. And the last thing the Cardinals want to face is another pitcher named Ashcraft. God. Am I right, Dr. Delay? Hit down the right field side and out of play by Herrera. And the count is no balls and one strike. Graham Ashcraft, 13 games, a 1-0 record, a 1.38 ERA, 13 innings pitched, 27 strikeouts against 17 walks. Coming set is Ashcraft. Here's the pitch. Upstairs and in, 98 miles per hour. And that brings the count to 1-1. Ivan Herrera, 0 for 2, hit by pitch in the sixth, and a run scored. That's an interesting idea, Gorn. Common set is Ashcraft. Leads off first. Here's the pitch. Down and away, a slider at 90 miles per hour, clear out of the zone. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. I just subbed. Good luck with your channel, and keep on going. Thank you, Dr. Delay. Thank you for chiming in. Now, here's the 2-1. Out and over the plate for a ball, a cutter. And that'll bring the count to 3 balls and 1 strike. I am watching through YouTube TV. Burleson sits on deck. Here's the 3-1 to Herrera. Strike, outside corner with a cutter, 99 miles per hour above the knees, and that'll bring the count full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ashcraft looks in for the sign. He comes set above the belt. And here's the 3-2 pitch. Hit to the right side and through for a base hit. There was a big old hole there on the right side. Going all the way to third there is J.J. Weatherholt. And so a 1-out single by Herrera. And now the Cardinals have runners on first and third with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. Yeah, believe me, what wouldn't we be willing to give up for Tarek Skubal? And on that play, it looked to be a hit and run because J.J. Weatherholt was just off on that play. Definitely opened up the first to third. Now here's the first pitch of Burleson. Swinging strike on the cutter up and in. The count is no balls and 1 strike. Let's go Cards. Not a Reds fan. 1 for 3 is Burleson, double in the 6th with a run scored. Coming set at the belt is Ashcraft. Here's the 0-1. Inside, 99 miles per hour, nowhere near the zone. That brings the count to a 1-1. Yeah, that was definitely a hit-and-run play because Weatherholt was just off. He was not waiting for contact. It's a 1-1 count to Alec Burleson. And here's the pitch. Up and away, a slider well out of the zone. The count goes to 2-1. It is a righty-lefty matchup with the righty Ashcraft against the lefty hitting Burleson. Runners on first and third with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. It's 6-4 Cincinnati and a 2-1 count to Burleson. Ashcraft deals, and it popped it up into shallow left field. Calling for it is De La Cruz. He makes the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. So he got jammed on that kind of inside-out swing, almost an inside-out swing by Burleson there. But whatever the case is, here comes Jordan Walker. And we know what he did earlier. He's 2 for 2 with a walk, a double, a 3-run home run, and 2 runs scored. The runners are still on first and third with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Here's the pitch. Foul back down the first base side and out of play on a sinker away. And the count is now no balls and 1 strike. Yeah, I worked 35 miles from Burleson, Texas. Cheers to the Lone Star State. Coming set is Ashcraft. Here's the 0-1. Out and away, a cutter floated over the lefty batter's box. The count is now 1-1. They might pitch around him. I wouldn't doubt that possibility. They might want to pitch to Gorman as preference. But they're going to be careful here. Now here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging strike on the cutter away, about belt high. Swung underneath that one, did Walker. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jordan Walker. Runners lead off first and third. Time is granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of Walker. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Back on the bump is Ashcraft. He's from the extreme first base side of the rubber. Here's the 1-2. Cut, check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did for the third and final out of the inning. So the Cardinals waste runners on first and third with 1 out. It's 7th inning stretch time at the Great American Ballpark. And as I was saying earlier, I am not going to torture you with my acapella of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But come the 4th of July, I will give you a genuine, not in any way ironic, belting out, not belting out because that would suggest some level of giving it lack of respect, which is not even remotely the case here, but give you a genuine, non-ironic ballad, a cappella of God Bless America. From the very beginning to the very end. Literally from the actual first lyrics of the song, as the storm clouds gather across the sea. But we still got a little over a month before that happens. No, there's no need to panic here. I mean, the Cardinals, with their offense, definitely can come back in this game. It's very hard winning both sides of a doubleheader, sweeping one. It's also, conversely, very easy to lose both of them. I don't know how both of those things are true at the same time, but they definitely are. So we await the bottom of the 7th inning. Indy 500 advertisement. Well, now that's an event worth advertising. I hate the Brewers, though, but I respect them. I know exactly how you feel. They do have a really cool ballpark, though. I can't take that away from them. I've enjoyed every game that I've seen at Miller Park, and I will never call it American Family Field. Now, here's the righty Fernandez starting off the bottom of the 7th for the Redbirds. Here's the pitch. Forcing fastball down Broadway for a strike at 94 miles an hour. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. Ryan Fernandez, 4 games, a 1-0 record, 1 earned run through 5 2/3 innings pitch. Here's the pitch. Slider strike on the outer third at the knees to the righty Stewart, who himself is 0 for 2 tonight. And the count is now no balls and 2 strikes. The Reds challenge it, and the call is upheld. So the count is still 0-2. And I believe that is the second and final ABS challenge for the Reds here in regulation. The Cards still have both of theirs. It's an 0-2 count. And here's the pitch. In the dirt, bounces up in front of home plate. The slider counts 1-2. 9 more likes to 100. Yeah, if you guys can push me over the top, by all means, that will be a milestone for this channel. Now, here's the 1-2. Bounce the slider once again in front of home plate. And that'll even out the count at 2-2. Yeah, if you guys can get the likes to 100, that will be a first time for Bombers games, Mike. That's a feather in my cap. Time is granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of Stewart, who steps out of the box briefly. And he digs back in. Now, here's the 2-2 pitch. Up and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, and definitely out of the zone. The count's 3-2. Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the 7th. Full count here. Here's the pitch. Called strike 3. Down goes Stewart for the first out of the inning. So, Fernandez, he comes into this game. Oh, I'm at 250 subscribers? Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I never know until after the stream. I never look in stream. Now, here's Nathaniel Lowe, 2 for 3 with a single net 2-run shot. And here's the pitch. A slider, low and in for a ball. The count is 1-0. I always look at the end, because I'm always really just kind of focused on the game. Thank you for letting me know. Here's the pitch. Four-seam fastball off the plate, about knee high. Now I'll bring the count to 2 balls and no strikes. But yeah, 250, that's mind-boggling to me. Now here's the 2-0 pitch. Strike, slider, right down Broadway, middle. And that'll bring the count to 2-1. So here we are, folks. Saturday night Redbird baseball. And here's a 2-1. Chopped right there in front of the plate, but it goes foul. It was a little nubber there. And that'll bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Love to attend a series in Cincy. Chili, and more chili. Well, you'd be going to the right place. They have a ton of it. Cardinals fan from birth, from Bismarck, Missouri. Bismarck, Missouri in the house. Listening from Goose Creek, South Carolina. Well, rather, South Carolina. Here's a pitch. Foul down the third base side and out of play. The count remains 2-2. But yeah, Goose Creek, South Carolina. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making yourself known in the chat. Nobody on, 1 out. It's a 2-2 count to the lefty low. Fernandez comes one. The 2-2 pitch. Foul back behind the plate and out of play on a four-seam fastball. 96 miles per hour right over the plate. And thank you very much for the 250. Hey, thank you guys. You're the ones who keep subscribing, and I'm glad you enjoy it so much. Nobody on, 1 out. Now here's the 2-2. Swinging strike 3 on the changeup. Down the way. Down goes Low for the second out of the inning. And that was a perfect fading changeup down the way to the lefty, which is one of the nastiest pitches in baseball if you can pull it off. And down low goes. 2 outs here, nobody on. Bottom of the 7th, 6-4 Reds. Here's the pitch. Strike, slider, right down Broadway to the righty McLean, who's 0 for 3 himself tonight. 2 flyouts and a strikeout. He is their second baseman. Now from the full one, the 0-1. Strike, four-seam fastball. Once again, right down Broadway, 95 miles an hour. And the count is now 0-2. Yes, indeed. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just off the plate, low and away on the slider. And the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. My son and I are big Cards fans from Lamar's, Iowa. Cheers. Glad we found your broadcast. And apparently there is some chirping over there from the Reds dugout. I'd have to imagine on the strike zone, which is almost hard to believe in this day and age, but here we are. McLean steps back into the box. It's a 1-2 count. Fernandez from the full wind. Now here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3 on the slider, down and away. Down hack and he goes for the third and final out of the inning. We head to the top of the 8th. It is 6-4 Cincinnati. I'm Paul D. If you're digging this stream and you haven't liked it already, please do. Helps the channel out immensely. And if you want to see more of it, want to get notifications, hit subscribe with the notification. Apparently, I have 250 subscribers now. Well, that's a huge deal. Thank you all so much. And with that in mind, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mic. You're not a Midwesterner until you've had biscuits and gravy. I have had biscuits and gravy many, many, many times. Many times. In fact, my wife's father, so my father-in-law, makes amazing biscuits and gravy. So we await the top of the 8th inning. Getting late here, though, for the Cardinals. They got to get some more out of those bats if they have any hope of pulling out this game. I like the biscuits, hold the gravy. To each their own. Go Birds! Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. I'll give it the love there. Absolutely. So we await the top of the 8th inning. 6-4 Cincinnati here. Okay. I have to come clean. I'm not a big fan of Provel. And at Emo's, you can't really order it without Provel. I've had this discussion many, many times with my wife. She loves it. You know, she's a native. Unfortunately, it just doesn't do it for me. You know, we all have our cross to bear, and that's one of mine. I've had Emo's before, of course. Usually when I'm on the road, my wife orders Emo's pizza because she's the only one eating it. Now, Ashcraft is out for his second frame of work. Righty-lefty matchup with Gorman at the plate. Here's the pitch. And a cutter up and away goes all the way to the backstop, 97 miles an hour. And the count is 1-0. Yes, I am in St. Louis. In fact, I am in St. Charles. 1 for 3 is Gorman tonight. Coming sets Ashcraft. Here's the pitch. Inside a cutter for a ball at 97 miles an hour. And I'm at 100 likes. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel out more than you can know. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Strike cutter on the inner third, right below the belt. And that brings the count to 2-1. We got ourselves a debate here going on Provel. Provel is a sacrilege on pizza. Ultra cool. I can't say it's a sacrilege. I just say it's not my tune. Here's the pitch. Cutter up and in, foul back behind the plate. That'll bring the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes on Gorman. Yeah, I'm at 100 likes. First time for this channel on any play-by-play stream. Coming set is Ashcraft. Here's the pitch to Gorman. Up and away, a cutter, 98 miles per hour, and that brings the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. My cousin runs the St. Charles school bus system. I live in Wichita, Kansas. Cheers, Wichita, Kansas. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3 on the cutter upstairs. Swung right through it, did Gorman for the first out of the inning. And that one was just right up there. It got some rising action on it in addition to some of that horizontal cutting action. He didn't have a chance. Now here is Mason Wynn. He's over 2 with a sac fly and an RBI in the second. Went out in the 8th. Here's the pitch. Slider down and away for a ball. Counts 1-0. Ashcraft looks in for the sign. And here's the 1-0. Strike outside corner on a cutter. Right above the knees to the righty Wynn. The count's 1-1. Coming set is Ashcraft. Here's the 1-1. Hit on up the middle right there to the second baseman. He throws to first in time for the second out of the inning. That was the 23rd pitch by Ashcraft for him in this relief outing. Did someone say Emo's Pizza? Yes, please. Mason is severely underachieving at the plate. He's had a bit of a slightly tough stretch. Now, here's Brian Torres, 3 for 6 in his major league career. 2 out. Here's the pitch. Strike, cutter, inside corner, right below the belt. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. Coming set is Ashcraft, the 0-1. Strike, slider, outside corner at the knees. And the count is now 0-2. And yeah, Wynn is coming off an injury. He did miss a game this week. And he got pulled from another. Coming sets Ashcraft. Here's a pitch. Whoop and in. A cutter, 98 miles per hour. That thing was some serious chin music there to Torres. And that brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Coming set is Ashcraft. And here's the 1-2. In the dirt, a slider. Nowhere near the zone. The count's 2-2. Is that the Philippines flag in there? Gary Walker? I can't tell. It looks like it could be. It's a 2-2 count to Brian Torres. Righty-lefty matchup. Here's a pitch. Popped him on up there into foul territory. In the third base side, they chase it, but it goes about 6 rows deep. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Torres has had about as good a major league debut, especially for a 28-year-old rookie, as anybody could dream to have. Looking in for the sign is the righty Ashcraft. And he deals. Check swing on the pitch down and in. Did he go around? Yes, says the home plate umpire for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Cards, they go down in order. We head to the bottom of the 8th. It's 6-4 Cincinnati out at Great American Ballpark. I'm Paul D., and thank you so much for getting me to 100 likes and 250 subscribers. I mean, that's just awesome. And as far as I'm concerned, you guys keep turning up for Redbirds games. I'm going to keep calling them. This may be Bombers game, Mike. But we have obviously fallen in here to a very strong Cardinal emphasis. And, you know, I live in the St. Louis area. You know, they're my 1A team. It's a real pleasure. That and this team is young, it's talented, and it's competitive. And you guys are a lot of fun. You just make it awesome. This is not a chore by any means. But something that does make me happy is that it does make Cardinal baseball available to people that couldn't get it otherwise because of the bizarre broadcast situation. Or you simply live out of market and you don't want to do the MLB.TV thing, which I totally get. So if you're joining me here because you can't get the game otherwise, that's one of the big reasons I'm doing this. So I'm glad you all are enjoying it as much as I am calling it. And we await the bottom of the 8th inning. White Castle. Pizza Hut chains. We appreciate you, Paul. Thank you. Hey, the Fire Phoenix, I appreciate you. And everybody else who keeps showing up and making this as much fun as it is. You know, what I get to do right now is absolutely a privilege. You know, this is the St. Louis Cardinals here. This is one of the most celebrated organizations in American sports. And I get to call their games here for you all on YouTube. And that's kind of an amazing thing. Now, here's Fernandez, the right-hander, out for his second frame of work. You got it, guys. Absolutely. Here's the righty, Spencer Steer, who's 1 for 1, doubled in the 6th with a run scored. Here's the first pitch. Hit on out to left field. Coming in is Brian Torres, and he makes the catch. So 1 pitch, 1 out by Fernandez here in the bottom of the 8th. Clark Air Force Base, 76 through 78. And 2024, question mark? I'm from La Plata, Missouri now, and live in Thermopolis, Wyoming. Thermopolis, Wyoming, welcome to the chat. Here's the pitch. Up and in, four-seam fastball fouled right back behind the plate. And they got themselves, the Reds do, a righty arm up in the bullpen for the top of the ninth. Here's the 0-1. Swinging strike on the four-seam fastball up and in. And the count is now 0-2 to the righty Higgins, who's 1 for 3. It was always a struggle to get the game. Thanks, keep up the good work. Hey, I'm glad I can get the game to you. And Wyoming, to my knowledge, that's the first time for Bombers game, Mike. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just missed the outside corner. I think it was, if anything, low. I don't know what it was, but they're not challenging it. The count is 1-2 strike to Higgins. Now, here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3. Down he goes. For the second out of the innings. Higgins just hacked right underneath that thing. Yeah, Torres does have wheels. Hell yeah, this is cool. Birds fans from everywhere here. You got that right. Now, here's the first pitch to the 9-hitter Myers. He shows bunt. He pulls back, but it is a strike, a slider. And the count is now 0-1. Clark Air Force Base, 86 and 87. Go Navy. Well, that's an interesting combination. Here's the 0-1. Hit on out there to left center field. Going back in front of the wall is Victor Scott, and he makes the catch, crashing in to the open fence there in front of the Reds bullpen for the third and final out of the inning. Victor Scott showing off that glove, showing off those wheels. We head to the top of the ninth. It is 6-4 Cincinnati. Last licks for the Cardinals here in this second game of the split doubleheader. Do they have a comeback in them? Well, we shall see. We shall see. Okay, so tomorrow, the Sunday game, the third game, the finale here down in Cincinnati, is scheduled for a 12:40 p.m. Central Time first pitch. That means here on Game Mike, I'll be live between 12:30, 12:35. I always leave the programming notes with the graphic there. And, of course, if you are subscribed and you have the notification button, because I schedule every stream in advance so you guys can see it, you'll get a 30-minute warning if you have push notifications on for YouTube that Bombers Game Mike will be going live in 30. Subic Bay is the armpit of the world. I don't even know where Subic Bay is. Go Redbirds indeed, David Hodge. Go Redbirds indeed. They're down to their last 3 outs. Let's see who they have due up. Pajes, Victor Scott, and J.J. Witherall. These cards feel like old school Cardinals. Like there's always a chance. Yeah. I can go with that. Yep, rally cap on, Cuban. Rally cap on. And we wait the top of the ninth. Last licks for the Cardinals. Can they come back down 6-4 in this game? Well, I suppose we shall see, won't we? Either way, it has been a fun day of baseball, getting to do 2 games with you guys. Tony Santanian, I believe it's pronounced, is in the game. 12 games, a 1-0 record, a 2.31 ERA, 11 2/3 innings pitched. He's 1 for 2 in save opportunities. And now here's Jose Fermin as the pinch hitter. He's hitting .257 with a home run and 5 RBIs, a .725 OPS. He is pinch hitting for Pajes here in the top of the 9th. Thank you for doing this from La Cruces, New Mexico. I had a friend in college from La Cruces, New Mexico. His name was Aaron Diaz. Good dude. Coming set is Santanian. Righty-righty matchup with the righty Jose Fermin. Here's the first pitch. Strike right down Broadway, 94 miles per hour on the four-seam fastball. And the count is now 0-1 to Fermin. Fermin's hitting a solid .218. Santanian deals. Swinging strike on the four-seam fastball in on the hands. And that'll bring the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Well, thank you so much, Q, man. It's you guys who make this thing really rock. And that's not just some platitude. It's a downright fact. Coming set is the righty Santanian. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit on out to left field. Looking up is the left fielder. Right in front of the wall, and it is gone. A solo home run for Jose Fermin. And the Cardinals are now down by 1. It is 6-5 Cincinnati. Oh, a little ninth inning light in there by Jose Fermin, pinch hitting out into left center field. And looking in on the replay here, that thing was middle, four-seam fastball. That fastball was straight as a string. And Fermin was all over that thing. Holy cow. And it just gets over the wall, the big wall in left field. So it is now a 6-5 Cardinal lead. Now here's Victor Scott, who himself is 0 for 3 tonight. You got J.J. Wetherell on deck and Ivan Herrera in the hole. Now here's the first pitch. Up and away, a four-seam fastball, 94 miles per hour, nowhere near the zone. And the count is now 1-0. It's a righty-lefty matchup with the lefty hitting Victor Scott, who's 0 for 3. Line out, pop out, and ground out so far tonight. Coming set Santillan. Here's the pitch. Foul back behind the plate and out of play. Four-seam fastball at 95 miles per hour out over the plate. And the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Right now, the Cardinals simply need to pass the baton. That's where it's at. Coming set is Santanian. Here's the pitch. Out and away, a four-seam fastball. Basically cruises over the righty batter's box. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike to Victor Scott. I mean, he could, if he's trying to get on for a base hit, he certainly would get them on their heels. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Foul back behind the plate and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles per hour on the outer third. And the count advances to 2 balls and 2 strikes. I wouldn't be mad either if he tried to bunt, so long as he puts down a good one. He's got wheels. Coming set is Santanian. Here's a 2-2. A ball, the four-seam fastball on the outside corner, misses well wide of the plate. And the count is now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Santanian, he comes set at the belt. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Now here's the 3-2 pitch. Foul back behind the plate and out of play on a four-seam fastball at 95 miles per hour. And we get to do 3-2 all over again. Pass the baton. That's where it's at here in the top of the 9th. Last licks for the Cardinals. Coming set Santanian. Here's the pitch. Hit on down the third base side and out of play. Once again on that four-seam fastball. Scott just keeps getting a piece of it, keeps fighting it off. Really, I'm your favorite YouTuber? Well, thank you so much. Coming set Santanian. Now here's a 3-2. Check swing. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the third baseline. And Victor Scott will take first. He reaches with a base on balls. Runner on first, nobody out. And here comes the lefty hitting second baseman for the Redbirds, J.J. Wetherell. And here's a little conference on the mound. between the pitching coach and Santanian. The entire infield is in on this one. So staying alive are the Cardinals here in the top of the ninth. Staying alive. You mean there are more YouTubers? Man, more than you could pack Busch Stadium with. Who isn't a YouTube creator nowadays? It's interesting watching retired baseball players start their own channel. It really is. Trevor May has actually a really good baseball channel. Now here is J.J. Weatherall. Leading off first is Victor Scott. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Now here's the first pitch of J.J. A ball down and away with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. And counts 1-0. Here's our kid. Scott, he takes a decent lead there off first. If he has the ability, he'll go. Now here's the 1-0 pitch. A strike down and in. Looked like a cutter. Looked low to me, but no one is challenging it. And the count is 1-1. Is John Travolta a Cardinals fan staying alive? Excellent. Here's a pitch. Fouled down the third base line and out of play on the four-seam fastball, 95 miles per hour. And the count advances to 1-2 strikes to J.J. Weatherall. I haven't watched Saturday Night Fever in an age. Leading off first is Victor Scott. He represents a tying run, throws over to first, back in time. And just in time with the head-first slide is Victor Scott. And the count remains 1-2. There is nobody out here in the top of the ninth. Scott leads off first. J.J. Weatherall, he's at the plate. He's holding. Here's the pitch. Foul down the third base side, now to play on the 95 miles per hour fastball on the outer third, and the count remains 1-2 strikes. I have a special celebration tune, a victory tune that I've been using all along. I like it very much. Besides, both of those songs are copyrighted, so I can't use it. Here's the pitch. It is a fly ball to right center field. Coming underneath it and calling for it is the right fielder. He makes the catch. He squeezes it for the first out of the inning. Victor Scott stays right there at first. John Hamm. Not familiar. I'm not familiar. Oh, you're very welcome. And please, call me Paul D. We're all friends here. Now, here is the righty DH Ivan Herrera with the runner on first with one out. Coming set at the belt is Santanian. It's a righty-righty matchup. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike on a slider down and away. Was not particularly close to the zone. Swung right over the top of that thing. And the count is now 0-1. But yeah, my name is Paul. Call me by my first name. Like I said, we're all friends here. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Strike. Looked like a sweeper on the inside corner at the knees. And the count is quickly 0-2 to Ivan Herrera. Victor Scott leads off first. There's one out here in the top of the ninth. It's 6-5 Reds. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Strike three on the four-seam fastball right down Broadway for the second out of the inning. I am shocked that Ivan Herrera got caught in the observatory on that one. I'm looking here on the replay, and it was absolutely middle. Yeah, the copyright's the old bugaboo. However, I do have an original work that, of course, is copyright protected, but I have the rights by the copyright holder. Throws over to first. Victor Scott is back in time with the head first slide. So 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. The runner on first. The Cardinals are down to their final out. It's 6-5 Cincinnati here in Game 2 of the split doubleheader. Santanian comes set. He deals. Off the plate, a four-seam fastball, 95 miles per hour to the lefty Burleson, who's 1 for 4 tonight. And the count is 1 ball, no strike. Stalking there on deck, waiting for his opportunity is Jordan Walker. Let's see if he gets it. Coming set is Santanian. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Up and away, a four-seam fastball, 95 miles per hour, nowhere near the zone. And that'll bring the count to 2 balls, no strikes on Alec Burleson, who's 1 for 4 with a double in the 6th and a run scored here tonight for the Redbirds. This is last lick for St. Louis. Coming set is Santanian. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Check swing. Did he go around? No, says Blue down the third baseline. And the count is now 3-0 to Alec Burleson. Will he go into statue mode for the 3-0? Well, that remains to be seen. Victor Scott leads off first. And time is granted by the home plate umpire at the behest of the catcher. He's going to have a little quick word there with Santanian. Yeah, the Fire Phoenix. My guess is that he will be taking all the way on 3-0. I mean, you never want to just let a guy back into an at-bat unnecessarily, unless it's like the meatball from heaven. In which case, I hope he hits the hell out of it. Coming set is Santanian. Here's a 3-0. And that is ball 4. So Burleson will take his base. And here comes Jordan Walker with runners on first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. We know what he did earlier. The question is, can he make one more serious offensive mark in this game? 2 for 3 with a walk, a double, a 3-run homer, and 2 runs scored. Runners on first and second with 2 out. Here's the first pitch. Strike. Looked like a slider on the outside corner above the knees. It's a righty-righty matchup with the righty hitting Walker. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. Runners lead off first and second. Santanian, he comes set. 24 pitches so far. And he deals. Hit to the left side and through for a base hit. Is he going to come around? There's a throw at the plate, and he is safe. He is safe, and it is a tie game. A tie game on the RBI single by Jordan Walker. And the Cardinals have tied it up at 6 here in the top of the 9th. Holy cow. He just got a piece of it past the diving Ellie De La Cruz into the outfield. Victor Scott was going all the way. The throw to the plate was nowhere near in time after a headfirst slide. And now, because I put, there we go. Now here's the first pitch to Gorman. That's a strike. Count is 0-1. So it is a tie game in the top of the 9th. After the RBI single on Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman's 1 for 4. There's still runners on first and second with 2 out. It's an 0-1 count, righty-lefty matchup. Here's the pitch. Fouled straight back on the four-seam fastball out over the plate. And that'll make the count no balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, I fixed the scoreboard. These things happen when you get excited. It is a 0-2 count to Gorman, 2 out, runners on first and second, top of the 6th. We're all tied, top of the 9th. We are all tied at 6. Now here's the 0-2 pitch. Popped him straight up, and Gorman is disgusted with himself. He tosses bat out of the way. The left fielder comes underneath it. He makes the catch. However, after the RBI single there with 2 outs at the top of the 9th, Jordan Walker ties this game up at 6, so we head to the bottom of the 9th. And yes, the rally cap did work. Oh boy, what a comeback here in Game 2. If you're loving the Cardinal comeback, please leave a like here for this play-by-play stream. And if you like my call, with the exception of the clipped audio there when I got very excited, please hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. When you do, you'll know 30 minutes ahead of time when Bombers Game Night goes live. But what an exciting game here in Game 2. But this is where it gets hard, because baseball is the one sport in the Major 4 where there is a built-in structural advantage for the home team. Namely, when they take the lead, when the game is tied from the bottom of the ninth onward, they don't have to defend it. And if we go to extra innings, we have to deal with that damn ghost runner. But we'll see what's happening. Yeah, right now, let's go extra innings. That is the hope for the Cardinals here. They're showing off that cardiac kids gene. And I really do hope these Cardinals are special. We await the bottom of the ninth. All tied at 6 here in Game 2 of the split doubleheader down at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's see who's due up for the Reds. Top of the lineup, Dunn, De La Cruz, and Belady. Well, if we're going to get to extras, you're going to have to earn it with them. Oh, boy. But, yeah, talk about the pinch hit solo home run from Jose Fermin. The RBI single there with 2 outs in the top of the ninth by Jordan Walker. And it's 6-9-0 versus 6-9-0 in this game. Now, here is Yoel Pozo. He is going in for Pages, who, of course, was pinch hit for in the previous half inning by Jose Fermin. And now here's the lefty, Jojo Romero. 23 games, 0-1, a 3.04 ERA. And he's up against the righty Dunn. Here's the pitch. He shows butt, and it's out in front of the plate. Fielding in front of the mound is for Jojo. He throws over to first in time. Does Romero. It was a perfect bunt. It went about halfway between the plate and the mound, slightly to the first base side. Romero managed to get a fine jump on it, pick it up, throw it to Burleson over at first, gets done by half a step. More than half a step, by a full step. That's the first out of the inning. Now here is Ellie De La Cruz batting from the right side, and here's a pitch. Strike, sinker, inside corner at the knees, and the count is 0-1 to Ellie De La Cruz, who's 1 for 3 with that huge 3-run bomb-ola. Here's a pitch. Fouled off his foot on a sweeper down and in from Romero, and that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, and they're showing his home run from earlier. De La Cruz is a force. And it looks like he did a little damage to his bat, and he's changing it up. It is indeed an 0-2 count. Now, he's been putting a little additional pine tar on it, trying to get a little better grip there on his bat. We'll see how that turns out. No, you can't be perfect every time. This is true. So, De La Cruz, he steps back into the box. Gives himself a couple of half-practice swings. Romero comes set at the Birds, and the lefty deals. A sweeper down and in the dirt. That brings the count to 1-2. So the infield defense is clearly shaded towards left about as much as it can be. Romero comes set at the Birds, the 1-2 pitch. Fouled down the first base side and out of play on the changeup down and away. Count remains 1-2. There's 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth. Romero awaits his sign. He has it now. He comes set at the Birds. Here's the 1-2. Up and away, a sinker, 95 miles per hour, clear out of the zone. And that evens out the count to 2-2 to Ellie De La Cruz. You can most definitely cut the tension in the air with a butter knife. Here's the 2-2. Down and in the dirt, a changeup. Laying off it is De La Cruz, and that'll bring the count full 3-2. In a tie game in the bottom of the ninth, this is the last guy you want to walk. I think Romero probably knows this. Here's the 3-2. Hit on out there to left field. Coming in is the left fielder, Torres. He tosses it on in, so A 1-out single there for Ellie De La Cruz. And things are about to get real interesting real fast with him out there at first. I think we all know exactly what he has in mind. Since 2023, he has 148 stolen bases, which is 15 more than second place. Here's the pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner, dotted right above the knees. The count is 0-1. And here is the lefty, J.J. Belletti, the DH. He's 0 for 4. De La Cruz, he stalks around out there at first. Romero comes set at the Birds. Here's the pitch. Dotted strike, sinker outside corner at the knees, and that'll bring the count to no balls and 2 strikes. It will be it'd be great if they got a double play, but De La Cruz is going to be very hard to double up. In fact, J.J. Wetherholt is not in double play depth. Coming sets Romero. Here's the 0-2. Going towards second is De La Cruz. The throw, he got him at second. The throw down there was in time, and punched out is De La Cruz for the second out of the inning. And the pitch was called a ball. And I don't know if Terry Francona is calling for the review on the play. Did he get him? I think he got him just before. It wasn't by much. It was by a hair, but I do think they got him. Yeah, I think he got him. But we're going to have to see. The play is now under review. So I'm going to remove the second out here and await the judgment on this call. Everybody in the ballpark is waiting to find out. And they are looking at the replay on the big board, awaiting the call from They are awaiting the call from the off-site replay center. I believe it's in New York, to see if De La Cruz was indeed out. The tension rises, folks. Did he get him, yes or no? We await the review. And I think he got him by just a hair. I could be wrong, but I think he got him by just a hair. But this thing could go either way. Cut the tension in the air with a butter knife, folks. We are standing by awaiting the call. And yes, plenty of dead air here because I don't know what more to say at the moment until this review comes in. It is an interminable wait, am I right? And he is out. The call is upheld. He is out for the second out of the inning. He throws down and he nails De La Cruz on the attempted steal of second. So now 2 outs here in the bottom of the ninth. It is a 1-2 count to the lefty Belletti. Lefty-lefty matchup with JoJo Romero on the mound. That is it's absolutely a huge out. Romero, he has his sign. He comes set at the Birds. Here's the 1-2. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, says the home plate umpire. For the third and final out of the inning. Bonus Cantos. Free baseball. We head to the top of the 10th. And you know what that means? The godforsaken ghost runner at second. How about that, folks? How about that? I'm not intentionally trying to channel Mel Allen, but it just comes out every once in a while. We head to the top of the 10th. It's extra innings here on Saturday Night Redbirds Baseball. I'm Paul D. And if you're digging the extra innings action here in the second game of the split doubleheader, please leave a like. Helps the channel out immensely, believe me. I've been doing YouTube for quite some time, and it makes all the difference in the world. And if you dig my call, please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll know when it's happening. I'll be back tomorrow for the scheduled 12:40 p.m. Central Time first pitch start. Well, thank you so much. Costa Rica, 1767. Great job calling this exciting game. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm not there yet. I still have much to improve on, but I'm glad you guys are enjoying this so much. I mean, I guess Pozo will bat. East Coast time sucks. Gotta go to bed. Go Cardinals. Hey, thank you for showing up. And yeah, Eastern time can be a brutal mistress, as they say. So we await the top of the 10th inning. Let's see who's due up. Wynn, Torres, and, well, not Fermin, but Pozo. And then you have Victor Scott. And the closer there for the Reds is literally holding his head in his hands after blowing the save. Now here's the righty, Pierce Johnson, 22 games with a 1-1 record. Our runner is down there at second. Now here's Mason Wynn. Here's the first pitch. Inside, a curveball off the plate. Count is now 1-0. That's a really good question, Dr. DeLay. I'll answer that in just a moment. Coming set is Johnson. Here's the 1-0. Swinging right over the curveball in the dirt was Wynn, and that'll bring the count to 1-1. Well, there's an interesting story behind that, and it starts in late July of last year. My wife and I were actually taking a trip to London, and we were there hanging out with a friend of mine who actually co-hosts my podcast with. History's my primary gig. It's a 1-1 count to Mason Wynn. Here's a pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball down and in. Got it right about the knees, and the count is now 1-2 strikes. And it was about midnight, 1 in the morning. I was playing MLB The Show. Yes, I did bring my PS4 with me. And I was watching the Yankee game, and I began thinking about it. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Chopped to third base, played there by the third baseman. He throws to first in time for the first out of the inning. The runner will advance from second to third there on the ground ball. And it just kind of struck me because I had seen people do this before, and I was like, well, that's interesting. And then I just came to the decision, because it was really too late in the season to do it properly at that point. Now here's the lefty, Brian Torres. He's 1 for 3, a single and a walk. Runner at third with one out here in the top of the 10th. Coming set is Johnson. And here's a pitch. Up and away, a four-seam fastball out of the zone, 96 miles per hour. The count is 1-0. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's something I could definitely do, but I'm going to wait till spring training and start a new channel and do it properly. Now, here's the 1-0 pitch. Curveball strike on the outer third above the knees, and that will bring the count to 1-1 strike. Then when things came around, I got MLB.TV, and I started calling, just for my own purposes, Yankee spring training games. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Hit to the right side. Right there is fielded by the third baseman. He throws home, and he is out. Segazy is out on the play, trying to come home, and that'll be the second out of the inning. So a hard break there for the Redbirds here. He hit it just right to the first baseman, who was playing even with the bag. He put a really good throw in there, and the tag was well applied on Segazy, just doing everything possible to get that run coming in from third. But as they say, no dice. And so I started recording them. I started doing them on video as well as recording into Logic. And there is a challenge on the play. I'm assuming it's on the play at home. I don't know how Segazy could have been safe. He didn't look safe. Let's see the replay on this thing. From that angle, the home plate umpire is blocking the whole thing, so you can't see anything. Fox has got to come up with a better angle. Here's a better one. No, he's absolutely out on the play. I don't know how he couldn't be. That and the home plate umpire was literally right on top of it. I don't know how he would have missed it. And I know umpires can miss calls, but I think this is just to see if they could get away with one here on the part of Ollie Marmol. That would be my guess. Anyway, so I started practicing doing Yankee games, spring training games in the spring. I was also going on YouTube and calling classic games that I'd already seen in my life, just recording them and whatnot. And the out is confirmed at home as expected. And then I started this channel by doing Yankee games, and I knew it was going to be an uphill climb. And then about 2 weeks ago, I was on the road. The Yankees had already played that afternoon. I'll get to the rest of the story shortly. Now, here's the catcher, Yoel Pozo, the right-hander. Runner on first with 2 outs here in the top of the 10th. Holding is Johnson. Here's a pitch. Fouled down the right field line, giving chase to the right fielder, but it goes clear into the stands. The count is 0-1. I was on the road. She had a hard day at work. The Yankees had already played. I was on the East Coast. The Cardinals are playing a 9:40 game my time against the A's, and I thought I would just do something nice for her because she's a native to St. Louis. And while she has definitely absorbed my Yankee fandom like I've absorbed her Cardinal fandom, I wanted to give her some home cooking. I didn't realize 700 other people would show up for the call. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Up and in. It's a pop-up right there around first. Calling for it's the first baseman. He's underneath it. He makes the catch for the third and final out of the inning. So unfortunately, the Cardinals couldn't work there with the ghost runner down at second. And so we remain all tied at 6 going to the bottom of the 10th. And let me clear out. There we go. Now put that ghost runner there for the Cardinals. Excuse me, for the Redbirds. Hey, it's been an awesome ride. I've been very shocked. But, I live here in the St. Louis area. And I know a lot of people here at the moment are having trouble being able to watch it every day. I can do that. And I'm watching the games anyway, which was always my thinking from the very beginning. And so that's kind of how I ended up here. At some point, I definitely want to find out your story. Like I said, you do a really good stream, a very tight call. That, and I have a fondness for the city of Pittsburgh. It's been a while since I've been there, but I really like going to PNC Park. I've been there for the free tour that's compliments of Allegheny County. That was some time ago. I don't know if it still is. And I've been there for a game as well. Very impressive facility. We gonna turn up? Oh, yeah, you guys definitely have. I got another Steelers fan in the audience. How about that? Let's go Cards. Okay, you're asking me, does he have to run home or can he stay at third in that situation? Yeah, he could have stayed at third. But usually baseball instincts in those kind of situations dictate you try to score. But yeah, he could have done that in theory. Yankees Cardinal World Series would be awesome. It would be awesome absolutely everywhere except in this household. My wife and I have thanked our lucky stars that we have not yet to face that in our marriage. Rangers or Blues? Actually, neither. I'm an Islander fan. But I do have a lot of respect for the Blues, and I despise the Rangers. Little inside knowledge on Paul's hockey fandom. And, of course, right now, I'm hoping that the Knicks can, put one more win together in those Eastern Conference Finals. Now, my wife's entire family are huge Blues fan. I think they're partial season ticket holders. They got me a very nice Blues jersey, which I have every intent to wear at some point here on stream. Expect something other than just Cards gear, but it's all for either sports that are not baseball or teams that no longer exist. Like, for example, I have a very generous collection of Montreal Expos jerseys. And the same deal with the Hartford Whalers. No, nothing could outdo the 2011 World Series. That is actually the best World Series I've ever watched. 100%. And you'll be interested to know that it was such a good World Series, even the sports media in New York were absolutely hanging on every out of that. It was getting full coverage as if it was happening to a local team. I haven't really seen that very often for World Series that do not include the Yankees or the Mets. So that definitely speaks to just how much that particular World Series gripped everybody. And I remember that year, I went to about 15 Cardinal games. Only half of them were at Busch Stadium. The rest of them, interestingly enough, if you can remember who they had to beat on the way, of course, were, well, obviously they didn't have to play the Cubs on the way, but I saw them a couple of times at Wrigley Field. Saw them a couple of times up at Miller Park. I saw them at Citi Field against the Mets, even though the Mets were not in the postseason that year. And I saw them on Sunday Night Baseball in the third week of September in Philadelphia playing the Phillies, where they actually swept the Phillies, despite the fact I think the Phillies won 103 games that year. So the Cardinals obviously had to go on and beat the Phillies in the divisional round, which of course they did in 5 games. And then they had to beat the Brewers in the NLCS, which they did in 6 games. So I was wearing Cardinal red to all of those facilities, albeit not in the postseason. And I very nearly went to a Ranger game that year when I was visiting my grandparents down in Dallas that summer. I didn't go because, well, quite frankly, the Texas heat is basically the equivalent of the 11th circle of hell. Yes, it was absolutely magic. It absolutely was magic. Because from basically the last week in August, the Cardinals forgot how to lose that year. It was incredible to watch. Oh, it's true. Believe me, it's true. Now, here's the righty Riley O'Brien, 23 games with a 3-1 record, a 3.13 ERA, 23 innings pitched so far. And for whatever reason, they have a runner down at first. I don't know how I missed that, but here's the pitch. Strike on the outside corner at the knees to Suarez, and the count is 0-1. Runners on first and second, nobody out. It's an 0-1 count to Suarez. Righty-righty matchup. Here's the pitch. Check swing on the sweeper down and away. Did he go? Yes, says Blue down the first baseline. And the count is now no balls and 2 strikes. Eugenio Suarez is hitting .226 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs on the year. It is a righty-righty matchup. All the pressure right now is in on O'Brien. Now here's the 0-2 pitch. Fouled down the first base side and out of play on a sinker at 97 miles per hour. And the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Runners lead off first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 10th. It's an 0-2 count. Coming set at the belt is O'Brien. Here's the 0-2. Swinging strike 3. Down goes Suarez for the first out of the inning. A clutch strikeout there by O'Brien. It looked to be on a slider. Swung right underneath that one, did Suarez, for the first out of the inning. Coming set is O'Brien. Here's the first pitch to McLean. Inside a sweeper. Count is 1-0. Matt McLean, the second baseman, 0 for 4 with a pair of flyouts, a pair of strikeouts. He's at second tonight for Cincinnati. Coming set is O'Brien. Here's the pitch. Chop foul and off his foot. And that'll bring the count to 1-1. Yes, a double play would be heaven sent here at the moment. And McLean steps back into the box. Runners lead off first and second. There are 1 out here in the bottom of the 10th, all tied at 6. It's a 1-1 count. Coming sets O'Brien. Here's a pitch. Chopped right up there to O'Brien. He throws to first in time for the second out of the inning. and the runners advance 90 feet. And that'll put runners on second and third with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning. So the winning run is 90 feet away for the Reds here in extras. O'Brien needs to get himself another very clutch out here to push this game ahead. Coming set is O'Brien. Here's a pitch. Swinging strike on the sweeper that goes over the lefty batter's box, nowhere near the zone. But he did pull the trigger, did Spencer Steer, who's 1 for 2 with a double in the 6th and a run scored. He has a .310 average this in 2026 with runners in scoring position. So O'Brien most certainly has his work cut out for him, if he didn't already. He looks in for the sign from Bozo. He comes set at the belt. Now here's the 0-1. In the dirt, blocked there by Pozo. Everybody stays there. He basically saved a wild pitch on that one. Some very fine catching there on the part of Pozo on what was undoubtedly a sweeper that was less than optimal, if I'm being diplomatic. It's now a 1-1 count to the righty Steer against the righty O'Brien. He comes set. Here's the 1-1. And same thing, saved that sinker down and away and in the dirt. Had it gone by him, the winning run would have scored. But cheers to Pozo there for showing off some real athleticism and some serious catching chops. O'Brien owes him a beer regardless of the outcome. It's a 2-1 count here to the righty Steer. Coming set is O'Brien. Runners at second and third with 2 out. Here's the pitch. Out and away, a sinker for a ball, and that'll bring the count to 3-1. A true hitter's count here with runners at second and third. The winning run for Cincinnati is 90 feet away. The righty Higgins, he sits on deck. He's 1 for 4 tonight. 11 pitches so far for O'Brien. Now here's a 3-1. Swinging strike on the sweeper down and away. Swung right over the top of that one. And that'll bring the count full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. A lot hinges right here on the outcome of this at-bat. Can O'Brien come through with runners at second and third? We'll find out. Here's the 3-2. Swinging strike 3. Down he goes for the final out of the bottom of the 10th. Oh boy, does O'Brien come up big with runners on second and third and 2 out. We head to the top of the 11th inning, still all tied at 6 at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm Paul D, and if you're digging this extra innings here and the stream, please do leave a like, helps the channel out immensely. And if you're digging how I do business, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. You'll know when it's happening again, which is tomorrow afternoon. And with that in mind, me here, you there, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Yeah, here we go, here we go. All right, leading off, as well pointed out in the chat, got Victor Scott II, followed by J.J. Witherholt and Ivan Herrera. And they have the ghost runner at second. I imagine it'll be Sagazi again. Wow, 379 people tuning in here. That is quite a crowd. Thank you all so much for joining me here for some extra innings, free Redbirds baseball. Oh, that's easy. My wife's favorite Cardinal player of all time is Rick Ankiel. I actually bought her a Rick Ankiel Cardinal jersey. Still have it. Yeah, Pozo did save the game a couple of times with his defense. And yes, my friend from Uganda, my friend retired in Uganda. It is definitely time for a homer. Hey, I'm all for the love for Rick Ankiel. Okay. Eugenio Suarez, he's taken over down. Well, at first base is Sal Stewart, I should say. And up to the plate here is Victor Scott II. Runner on second, nobody out. Standard ghost runner here. Extra regular season extra inning rules. Vic Scott is 0 for 3 tonight. He walked in the ninth. He has a run scored. And here's the righty Johnson's first pitch. Curveball strike on the outer third, right below the belt. And the count is 0-1 to Vic Scott. Yeah, that's one of the reasons she likes him so much is the fact that he made that transition. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Down in the dirt, a four-seam fastball well out of the zone. The count is 1-1. Now, Rick Ankiel is by far one of the most interesting stories in baseball history. Coming set is the righty Johnson. It's a righty-lefty matchup. Now, here's the 1-1. Strike, four-seam fastball on the outside corner, thigh high. And that'll bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's see. It was Riley O'Brien pitched the, no, was it? Yeah, it was O'Brien. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, a curveball bounces up in front of the plate. The count's 2-2. Stand the man for me, because I met him many times, well over 100. Better man than player. I've only ever heard good things about interactions with Stan Musial. Coming set is Johnson. Here's a 2-2. Hit down the left field line, giving chase to the left fielder. He's charging in towards the stands, and it goes about 3 or 4 rows deep. And the count remains 2-2. There was a place that I had to go where we used to live in southwestern Connecticut before we moved here, where one of the guys who saw I was wearing a Cardinal jacket mentioned he went to a wedding in St. Louis, and Stan Musial was there. He had been invited, and you better believe it, he brought his harmonica, and he played it. Runner on second, nobody out. It's a 2-2 count to Victor Scott. All tied at 6 in the top of the 11th. Coming sets the righty Johnson. He's holding. And here's the 2-2. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, says the home plate umpire for the first out of the inning. I thought Bob Gibson was very interesting. When you're so good that they have to adjust the pitching mound because of you. Him and Sandy Koufax. And yeah, Victor Scott definitely went around on that one. Now with 1 out, here is the lefty hitting second baseman, J.J. Weatherholt. It's a righty-lefty matchup. J.J., he's 1 for 4 tonight. Here's the pitch. Strike, four-seam fastball outside corner, right at the knees. Just dotted it there, whispering over the black of that outside corner. And the count is now 0-1. 1 for 4 with a single and a walk is J.J. Weatherholt. The guy you forget is a rookie. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging strike on the curveball down and away. Did not come close to that one. And the count is now no balls and 2 strikes. 17 pitches so far in this outing for Johnson. And he steps off the rubber. Doesn't seem to have the pitch he wants. He stands back at the stretch on the extreme first base side of the rubber. And he comes set at the letters. Now here's the 0-2. Check swing. Did he go around on it? No, says Blue down the third baseline. And Weatherholt stays alive. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And undoubtedly, Johnson feeling the pressure on him. Coming set at the letters is Johnson. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Chopped to the first base side, fielded there by the first baseman. Will take it all the way to the bag himself for the second out of the inning. The runner will advance to third on the play. Now the Cardinals require either a 2-out hit or an error off the bat of Ivan Herrera to come ahead in this game. He's 1 for 4 tonight. Righty-righty matchup with the righty Johnson on the mound. The runner is at third with 2 outs in the top of the 11th here. Here's the first pitch. Strike, curveball on the outer third at that thigh high, and the count is now no balls and 1 strike. Coming set is Johnson at the letters. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Check swing, foul ball. Grows right over to the Reds dugout. And the count is now no balls and 2 strikes to Ivan Herrera. Runner leads off third. He is 90 feet away from the Cardinals taking a lead. Coming set is Johnson. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Hit on down towards the first base side, going towards the stands, and it is well into the stands. And the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. This has been a very tense, very chippy game. Back and forth. Really a classic here in the second game of this split doubleheader down in Cincinnati tonight. This is some serious Redbirds baseball. Coming set is the righty Johnson. He deals. Hit on out there to short right field. Coming in as the right fielder, and he slides and makes the catch for the third and final out of the inning. I couldn't flare out, and Herrera is very disappointed by that. We are still all tied at 6, going to the bottom of the 11th inning. So more free baseball from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm Paul D. And if this is your first time joining the stream and you like it, please leave a like. Helps out the channel immensely. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. And if you think there's another Cardinal fan out there who would dig it that's having trouble accessing the games, share the link. It's always much appreciated. But thank you all so much for coming in here and joining me for some extra inning Redbirds baseball here on Saturday night. I'm Paul D, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Yeah, that was a disappointing top of the 11th, to say the very least. So we head to the bottom of the 11th. Due up for the Redbirds is the catcher Higgins, followed by Myers, who pinch hit last time for Friedel. And then the leadoff man, the center fielder, well, rather, leadoff man Dunn. He moved over to right. Yeah, so Dunn moved from center to right in the top of the 10th. And Steer moved to left. And Myers, the pinch hitter for Friedel, he moved to center. Just a little defensive note here. Did I ever want to be a sports announcer growing up? Well, short answer, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I don't know why I never really properly pursued it. It's just one of those things you look back and like, wow, geez, what was I thinking? But I'm glad to be here and now. Very happy to be here and now with all of you. But yeah, absolutely. I grew up listening to John Sterling. And there is only one and only John Sterling, I can assure you. If you've never heard a call with John Sterling, it's a very unique experience. May he rest in peace. He is very beloved among millions of Yankee fans. He was our guy for a long, long time. And we await the bottom of the 11th inning, waiting for Fox to come back from commercial break. They're definitely taking their time. And plenty of pharmaceutical commercials. Wouldn't be a national broadcast without plenty of pharmaceutical commercials. And we're standing by. And standing by and standing by. Right now, Oklahoma City refs. Drugs and betting, yes. You hit that right on the head. Very pithy, very accurate. Some of these commercials, because obviously I have the broadcast on mute, are just, when you watch them on mute, they're just utterly preposterous. just watching them with no corresponding contextual audio to figure out what the heck is going on. Now here's the first pitch, a sinker for a ball. Counts 1-0. They just jumped right back in about mid-pitch on that. And the runners at third, geez, they really are behind. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Outside a sweeper. And the count is now 2-0. Geez, Fox, you're killing us here. The infield is playing in, right on the grass with the runner at third with 1 out. Now here's the next pitch from O'Brien. Inside a sweeper for a ball, and that'll bring the count to 3-0. Fox is now in my bad books, I'll tell you that much. Dunn is on deck. Coming set is O'Brien. Here's a 3-0. Inside a sinker, ball 4, and that'll put runners on first and third here in the bottom of the 11th. God, is that annoying. Now here's the righty hitting Dunn. He's 2 for 5, 2 singles and a run scored. Cardinal defense is still in. Here's a pitch. Showing bunt, pulling back a sweeper in the dirt, and the count is 1 ball, no strikes. Runners on first and third. It should reflect that. Burleson is holding the runner at first. The rest of the infield is playing right up on the lip of the grass. Winning run 90 feet away. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Hit up the middle. Right there. Wooden gets it. He throws home. And the tag. And he is called safe. He is called safe. And that will do it. So an extra inning win there on the part of the Reds here in 11. Just couldn't get the throw and the tag in time. But it does seem to be a call that is under review. So everybody sit tight. I'm curious what it shows on the replay here. The throw definitely beat him, but I think he actually got his hand in time before a tag could be applied. The review is almost customary at this point, but he really did look safe on that, unfortunately. I will bring the run back just for the sake of thoroughness, but I think ultimately that's what does it. And the Reds are celebrating out there on the field with the walk-off win. So I'm definitely calling this one final in 11. 7-6 Reds over the Cardinals in 11. A disappointing outing here. A disappointing outcome, I should say, for the Redbirds here in Game 2. So they split the doubleheader with the Reds today, a game apiece. But we'll be back tomorrow for the rubber match, the finale of this 3-game set at Great American Ballpark. It is scheduled for a 12:40 p.m. Central Time start. I'll be live here on Game Mic between 12:30 and 12:35, and I'll have the entire call. So unfortunately, I cannot play the victory tune because there is no victory. It is the final 7-6 Cincinnati. I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me here for this extra inning edition of Saturday Night Cardinal Baseball down in Cincinnati. This has been a Bombers Game Mic presentation. I'm Paul D. I'll see you all tomorrow between 12:30 and 12:35 for the finale. The final is 7-6 Reds in 11. Bombers Game Mic over and out. 7-6 Reds is your final. Good night.